Cloud Dance will convey the matter to Hyo, so that Hyo and Hongling won't fight for a while. At that time, most of Hongling will die without residue. Hyo, I'm going to put Hongling in Chaos Hall for the time being. You can find a way to keep it from making trouble in it. By the way, give me that rabbit. A second before putting Hongling into Chaos Hall, the roar of Hyo came to Yunwoo's mind. Do you use Chaos Hall as a garbage dump, and what do you want to put in? Hyo, it's not convenient for me to take Hongling into the Warcraft forest. Please take care of it for me. It can't beat you or eat you. What are you afraid of? Cloud Dance originally wanted to use the method of agitation, but after a while, the voice of Black Pride came back. The rabbit can stay, but the little monster can't. Yunwoo is depressed. How can we say that she is the master of the Chaos Hall, but he is the king? Rabbit, you stay, Hongling, you have to stay. So Finish in the Heart also didn't wait for Black AO to agree. At the moment when Yunwoo's consciousness was connected with chaos, he immediately inhaled Hongling into Chaos Hall and directly threw Hongling into Chaos Hall. Long Qingxie didn't know the existence of Chaos Hall. Naturally, he didn't know that Yunwoo was talking to Hyo just now. He thought it was a burden for her to throw a living creature as big as Hongling into it. Small things, if the burden is too big, don't let Hongling in the space bracelet, the big deal is to let it follow us. It's better to think of a few lies than let him watch Yunwoo suffer. No, I just want to observe for a while to see if the rabbit is really okay. Cloud Dance this lie also said more slip up. As soon as she finished, she seemed to be in the Hall of Chaos, and there was a sound of chickens flying and dogs jumping. Yunwoo silently pulls his mind away from the Chaos Hall and pretends that he doesn't hear anything. Long Qingxie didn't ask about the rabbit that disappeared. Anyway, Hongling was greedy and put them together. I'm afraid the rabbit didn't show any trace. Without the high profile of the class, Yunwoo and Long Qingxie successfully found an exploration team ready to enter the Warcraft forest before they entered the forest. A bearded, bear-like man was standing under the tree, calling together the people who came and went. 50 taels of silver for each person. They are required to be above level 6 and can join after passing the strength assessment. Yunwoo was a little surprised to hear the price. Is it easy to make money in Warcraft Forest? You know, in the eyes of ordinary people, these 50 taels of silver are enough to live for a year or two. However, when Long Qingxie heard their request and price, he frowned and seemed to guess something. He immediately took Yunwoo to another place. Cloud Dance pulls Long Qingxie and asks him, isn't this very suitable for us to go? Dragon Qing Evil Eyes a stare, just want to continue to drag her to walk, nearby have to laugh. Little boy, where is this task suitable for you? The requirement is the strength above the 6th level and medium term. If you don't leave, are you going to stay and show your shame? It was a short, yellow, middle-aged man. His eyes are very small and his nose is very big. He looks uncoordinated. Other people around us are also making a lot of noise. Most of them are people who don't meet the standard and can't earn the money. Now when they see Cloud dancing, they will not miss the opportunity to ridicule others. Dragon Qing Evil Smell Speech, I ground cold light a flash, turn Mao to sweep eye that take the lead to coax of man in front. I don't know if the dragon's evil momentum is too strong. With one look, the middle-aged man subconsciously stood up straight. He swallowed his saliva and looked at his companions. He suddenly felt that he couldn't face himself. What are you staring at? I said that the numb little boy was a disgrace. And you, tall and amazing? Lousy, I tell you, it's up to strength to speak here. Is it? Dragon Qing Evil Smell Speech, the corner of the mouth slightly rises, the eye color is extremely cold, sink of stare at that man, seem to be studying from where to start, peel off his skin is more convenient. However, at this time, Long Qingxie suddenly said to Yunwoo, go ahead and challenge him. Next challenge? Yunwoo originally wanted to watch the play, but suddenly the conversation changed. How could she join in the fun instead? However, Yunwoo didn't object. Since he said he wanted to train her, she thought it was a warm-up training with a live target. Yunwoo walked behind him. On the face of the ordinary boy, he drew a smile arc and said to the man who laughed at her, "Since it's about strength, let me see if you are qualified to speak with your strength." The man looked at Yunwoo's expression, as if he saw a clown. Such a thin and dry boy, dare to tell him to talk by strength? The big beard of the expedition team saw this scene and came to give advice to Yunwoo and Longqing. If you want to find a team, you can go further north. There are some teams with low-level requirements. It's not too late now. We can still have today's work now. Cloud danced to this big beard good advice, just a light glance, did not answer. That big beard, originally also want to say what, but, into the Cloud dance line of sight behind, but his tiny Leng. Good calm eyes, bearded in the Warcraft forest for so many years, have seen a lot of people hidden. And this young man can have this kind of eyes, can we say that he is also hidden? However, this young boy is so weak in appearance, his face is a little sallow, and he is young. Isn't he really trying to be brave? Long Qingxia grinned and hugged his chest with both hands. He said, "Uncle, don't worry about my brother. He can do it." Seeing that his brother had said so, Bearded naturally had nothing else to say. Whether he is really capable or brave, it depends on his luck. The man who defied Yunwoo was very happy to see this scene. At first, he thought that his brother was not easy to be provoked. Now, how dare you challenge him? He spit a mouthful of spit and said to the big beard, "I said, Lao Hu, you give me a witness. It's not my fault to kill him. This boy can't help beating him when he sees it." Bearded, who was called Lao Hu, didn't bother to pay attention to him and went on to recruit people. "Boy, I'll give you 3 moves. You'll do it first, so that I won't be bullied." Cloud dance light smile way, good, that thanks. Long Qingxia is beside him, grinning, like a good play. The onlookers saw that Yunwoo was so innocent that they didn't hope for her. As a brother, Long Qingxia is also so conceited that he thinks that his weak brother can win, which naturally becomes the object of condemnation. How can you be so happy to see your brother die? Is it a brother? Of course, there are also some onlookers watching the good play, laughing and mocking. In this gathering of more and more onlookers, the middle-aged man relaxed his muscles and prepared to show his pride in front of the public. "Boy, today I will let you never come back." As soon as the cruel words fell, the iron sand-like fist was raised, and suddenly it fell to the Cloud dance. Cloud dance, the corner of the mouth still raised, but in that moment, the cold light at the bottom of the eyes flashed by. Also did not use any element of the force, the same clench. Before everyone could react, Yunwoo suddenly made a force under his feet, and catapulted it like a shell in front of the other side, hitting the other side's heart directly. A few brittle sound of bone fracture, let the onlookers all feel a pain in the heart. Close combat is one of her favorite sports. The middle-aged man with uncoordinated facial features was completely hit by Yunwoo with a fist and directly hit a big tree with thick trunk. Bang! A sound, the tree was hit or shaking, falling a lot of leaves. As for the man who was hit by the Cloud dance, he was lying on the ground half dead and spat out a mouthful of blood. If you look carefully, you can see that there are many black blood clots in the blood he vomited. It is obvious that he was injured by Yunwoo. At this moment, all the men around us were in an uproar. This small man, who is not amazing in appearance, actually has the ability to defeat his opponent in the 5th level. How is that possible? It seems that this little man is only a teenager. How can he beat the 5th level strength? Everyone was shocked and unbelievable. However, with the facts in front of us, who dares to say anything? As for the unfortunate guy who lay on the ground and vomited blood, people with a clear eye can see that he will have a lifelong problem in the future. It's useless. Yunwoo folded her fists and moved her shoulders. The guy was quite heavy, and it took her some strength to fight. Well done, I'm not ashamed. Long Qingxie vomited out a straw he was holding in his mouth. He pretended to walk over and patted Yunwu on the back. It's like any brother who's proud of his brother. But only Yunwu knows that this damned man is looking for opportunities to take advantage of her. Is the hand on her shoulder a pat? That's touch. Cloud Dance stares at Long Qingxie without any trace and warns him to restrain. At this time, a hoarse voice came in. I said, boy, are you too tough? Cloud Dance followed the past, and saw a thin man like a monkey walking towards him. It seems that his strength is above level 6. Strangely, he didn't join the expedition team with Big Beard. Cloud Dance glanced at the man. He should be the teammate of the middle-aged man just now, because he was wearing the same badge, which should be distributed when he was in the group. However, this is also the most impatient kind of Cloud Dance. Because according to this situation, when one's own people are cleaned up, they come out to reason. If you don't fight hard, do you want to wait for him to kill me first? Or do you want to tell me that in the Warcraft Forest, we should also talk about benevolence, righteousness, morality and respect for the old and the young? Cloud Dance looks cold, but a clever irony. That word instantly let those men nearby immediately laugh out loud. They always have no integrity, who said interesting with whom to cajole. What's more, now that the little man all beat people down, just look at the strength, enough to let them agree. In the Warcraft Forest, there is no noble identity, only the balance of strength. This is the survival rule of Warcraft Forest. Yunwu's words, the skinny man was really half angry, and his face was ferocious, as if he wanted to fight with Yunwu. You are so ungrateful, I have to teach you a lesson for your parents today. Cloud Dance sneer, ordinary youth's face covered with a layer of light murderous. What are you to teach me? Parents can be said to be a piece of scales in Yunwu's heart. Whoever touches them must be prepared to pay the price. That big horse monkey haha smile, to oneself also calculate is very conceited. Whether I am worthy or not, you will know in a moment. Grandfather is waiting for you to kneel down and beg for mercy. Just now I saw Yunwu's attack. Although the attack was extremely fierce, it didn't make him feel any samurai power. So I felt in my heart that maybe he used some skills and brute force to surprise me. He's in the middle of the 6th stage. He's much more powerful than his teammate just now. What's more, he's still experienced a lot of actual fighting and has too much fighting experience than his opponent. Now, a few of the onlookers had nothing to do and ran to whisper to the dragon. Hey, stop your brother. That guy is a good man around here. If he catches the chance, he will kill your brother directly. Long Qingxie stretched himself against the tree trunk and said, I'm not afraid to kill you. I have many younger brothers. The people nearby all winked at each other. No wonder they dare to let the little man do it just now. It turns out that they really don't care about losing a younger brother. Long Qingxie lazily looks at those onlookers, and finally focuses on Yunwu's petite figure. The concern from the bottom of his eyes is quite different from his attitude. Cloud Dance on the outside of the matter do not know, just to the big monkey asked, say, how to play. There are no rules. Whoever falls is the loser. The monkey slapped at the corner of his mouth and showed his yellow teeth. He laughed disgustingly. Cloud Dance's brow slightly wrinkled for a while, however, still way, if I win, want to add a condition. Alright, but if I win, I have to add conditions. Cloud Dance has no objection to this, as for the big monkey's win or lose, in her mind already know. My condition is very simple. If you lose, go back to brush your teeth. How long has it been since you brush your teeth? Your mouth stinks. Sarcasm? Sort of. See, Cloud Dance this words fall, immediately caused the spectators to laugh. In the laughter of others, the monkey blushes, spits, points to the cloud and fiercely says his condition. If I win, you'll save your life. Cloud Dance mouth corner sneer rises, want to keep her life, he is far from. With the half-dead guy as a lesson, the monkey didn't ask him to say something about cloud dance this time. On the contrary, it's very shameful to take advantage of the fact that he's still talking, and then he gives a hand to the swift and violent cloud dance. Around the men a burst of exclamation and cheering. Obviously can Win still do so, really to the man's son's shame. Cloud dance just feel instant, that big horse monkey rush to oneself in front of, obviously is also learn her before practice, want to make a quick decision. However, cloud dance is absolutely impossible to give him such an opportunity. Almost in the blink of an eye, Yunwoo wrapped the fighting spirit in his arm. Under the eyes of the public, he shouldered the other party's attack, and didn't move. On the contrary, it was the big monkey, who was rebounded 2 steps back. That big horse monkey's expression is a little surprised, obviously feel that the strength of cloud dance is far from what she showed. And it is in such a distracted gap, Yunwoo volley side kick, a leg whip mercilessly hit his head. Under the gaping eyes of the people around, not long ago, the monkey, who was shouting to let Yunwoo leave his life behind, also flew backward and slammed on the previous unlucky ghost. After listening to the 2 screams, I can almost imagine that the 2 men are now more out of breath than in. Cloud dance no, actually hit later, that big monkey absolutely already understand her strength has a problem. Unfortunately, it's too late. You are a good boy. The man who talked with Long Qingxie was the first to shout out to Yunwoo. After that, everyone else followed suit. Boy, how do you practice? At such a young age, I can actually win the strength of the 6th level medium term. I said, why don't you grow some muscle? Women don't like thin bamboo. Can see such a dry and thin little guy beat that big monkey down, this is really the thing that never thought of in my life. They were both astonished and astonished. Dragon Qing evil at this time, smile raised the corner of the mouth to stretch out his hand to hold Cloud's shoulder, to her smile way, nothing, elder brother likes you to go. The group of men immediately hissed. Just now, I heard him say that there are many younger brothers, and I don't care if there is one less. Do you think they are deaf or stupid? Yunwoo pursed her lips, pushed the dragon away, and opened her mouth to the big beard who came this way. Uncle, can we join your team? Bearded is really satisfied with Yunwoo's strength. With such a brother, his brother will not be worse. Of course, he nodded directly and put them in his own team. However, Long Qingxie, who had just had a good look, saw that Yunwoo had decided this matter without authorization, and immediately dropped slightly to pull Yunwoo aside. I said not to join them. Cloud dance a face of bewilderment, to Long Qingxie asked, is you say to want to find an exploration team, I think, that uncle's team is very good, why not add? There is no reason to let go of an exploration team with suitable strength. It's hard to say. Long Qingxie's face sank, and his voice was low, I'll bring you to practice this time. Of course, I'll arrange it. Cloud dance smell speech, can't help but frown, this man, in the end what temper. Bearded didn't know what they were arguing about, but the strength of Cloud dance really made him want to join the team, so after thinking about it for a while, he took the initiative to come up with a new price for them. Little brother, your strength is higher than our average level, so I can decide to give you more money, 70 liang silver. I usually give him the price for the 7th level. What do you think? People who often hang out in the Warcraft forest all know that the 7th level strength can only get 70 liang silver. It's just a hoax. You should know how rare level 7 is. Some of the people who have reached level 7 will still sell coolies here. They have already gone to the city to make a fortune. It's just that Yunwoo and Long Qingxie don't care about this little reward, and no one will care about it with Bearded. As soon as Long Qingxie saw that big beard came to stir up the trouble, his eyes became gloomy. Uncle, I'm not going to let my brother go with you. Big Beard said anxiously, why? Are you afraid of danger? Don't worry, we have a group of stronger people in the Warcraft forest. You've heard of Nanganji, the son of the National Master. We're going to work for him. Nanganji? Smell speech, Cloud dance eyebrow tiny pick, however, but also think of in Xiaoyao town, the information that Hong Yang talked about. Nangong Yi is being poisoned and is still searching for an antidote in the Warcraft forest. It seems to be true. However, I didn't expect that they met on the first day by such a coincidence. However, Cloud danced line of sight, but thoughtfully looked at the dragon Qing Xia, this man early guessed. So, he had to stop her from joining the team. Long Qingxia is not at all uncomfortable about being arrested. He looks back at the sight of Cloud dancing. His woman, he naturally does not want her around other men. In particular, Nangong Yi always makes him feel that he is also very concerned about Yunwu. Who knows if he will come up with something. Before he really gets this woman's heart, he doesn't want to kill Qing Yaojin halfway. However, Yunwu had another plan in mind. She said to Bearded, "Don't worry, uncle. We'll go. I'll talk to my brother again." Bearded went away, wondering if he should raise the price just now, but he didn't know what strength the boy's brother was. Maybe 70 taels of silver was about the same. Cloud Dance whispered warning to the dragon, "I agree to practice with you in the Warcraft forest. It doesn't mean that I'm at your disposal. Don't be unreasonable. Making trouble out of nothing." Hearing Yunwu's words, Long Qingxia once had an impulse to pinch her face. This little thing, for the sake of other men, always says that he is so reasonable, how to consider, he will be jealous. Taking advantage of no one around in this corner, Long Qingxia lowered his head and bit Yunwu's earlobe. He said vaguely and angrily, "Little thing, for the sake of Nangongji, you're going to warn my husband? Do you know I'll be angry? Is it time for you to get angry? Come on, don't make trouble. I have my plan. You'll listen to me first this time." Cloud Dance said turned round to shout toward Big Beard, "Uncle, we agreed, go with you." After Yunwu and Long Qingxi joined the expedition team, Bearded asked for their names. Long Qingxia directly calls himself Dragon 4, and then uses Yunwu as his brother to ask others to call her Xiao 5. Because of the name of Dragon 3, Yunwu felt a little strange after hearing that Dragon Qingxia called himself Dragon 4, but he didn't say much. And not long after they joined the Cloud Dance, the last member of the exploration team was also determined. It was a woman with fiery red hair. She introduced herself as Lin Huo. When Yunwu saw the woman, she couldn't help looking more. How to say? From her, Yunwu has a strange feeling. But I can't tell what it is. This forest fire sun looks general, but has the eye tail of Gao 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 to pick up, see anyone all a pair of arrogant life expression. This woman really has the ability to be proud, the strength of the 6th level peak. A woman in her 20s is at the top of the 6th level. She is really gifted. But, such strength, want to be in front of Cloud Dance and Dragon Poor Evil, but become not enough to see. Of course, Yunwu will not compare with her like that. Bearded counted the personnel and supplies, made sure everything was okay, and then clapped his hands at the team members sitting or standing in the open space. "Well, we are ready to set out to meet with Nangong Gongzi and them." When the leader made a speech, everyone gathered together with their personal belongings. Bearded stood at the front of the team and introduced other people to Yunwu, Long Qingxi, and Lin Huo who joined later. In addition to Huo, another girl in the team is my daughter Coco. Although she is on the mission for the first time, her strength is not bad and she won't drag everyone down. Yunwu looks at her from the big beard's fingers. A very cute little girl is smiling at her. The feeling is just like that little leaf at the beginning, which makes Yunwu feel a little good. The other several people are the strength of the 6 men in the middle, a total of 4, just accounted for all the tall, short, fat and thin. The tall one is Fang Tianyu, the short one is Li Sun, and the fat one is Xiao Sheng, who calls himself fat. The skinny one says he can call him skinny, but he doesn't say his name. Yunwu and Long Qingxi look at each other and know that the people in the team may have some things that are not shown on the surface. The strength above level 6 is still in the Warcraft forest. It's hard to guarantee that there won't be any ferocious fugitives. It's just, it's none of their business. If someone wants to reach out to them, they will naturally make each other pay the price. In this way, including Cloud Dance and Dragon, a group of 9 people began to move towards the depths of the Warcraft forest. Thinking of meeting Nangong Yi and still participating in the search for an antidote for him, Long Qingxie was not in a good mood all the way. Yunwu knows the reason, but doesn't care about him. On the way, Coco, who was deliberately protected by everyone in the middle of the team, approached Yunwu. She's the youngest, and she's adorable, so no one cares about protecting her. Coco shook his sleeve and blinked his big eyes. Brother 5, how did you do so well? Yunwu seldom meets such a lovely child. She also likes Coco very much. She reaches out and rubs her hair. Her attitude is rare and mild. What? Do you think little brother is very good? Coco put one hand around his thick long braid, bit his lip and said to Yunwu, yes, if I can be as strong as little 5 brother, my father won't have to lead the team every time, and I can also help him. Cloud Dance, although light smile, raised the corner of the mouth. Light way, Coco good point, good down-to-earth cultivation, later will certainly become very powerful. Really? Thank you. Brother 5 12 or 13-year-old girl's eyes are bright, full of bright expectations for the future. The wood fire sun nearby hums a, rather ironic way, good can become fierce? Oh Coco smell speech, some timid hope forest fire sun one eye, dare not refute. Lin Huer's 6th level senior strength is to let Lao Hu be careful not to offend her. Of course, the sensible Coco will not conflict with her. Miss Lin, you don't speak and nobody thinks you are dumb. The cloud dances coldly to glance that forest fire sun. This woman is mean and arrogant to adults. What sense of existence is she looking for in front of a little girl? Lin Huer's eyes glared and cried to Yunwu, what are you, who gives you the qualification to manage me? Long Qingxie took a step forward to separate the sight of Yunwu and Lin Huer. He looked at Lin Huer coldly and said, what are you? Why do you yell at my brother? Lin Huer, relying on his 6th-rank senior strength, has always been arrogant. When was he so provoked and ridiculed? At the moment, he was angry and wanted to give the poor brothers a little color. Lao Hu, who was walking in front of him, found the abnormality here and came to make it right. Well, it's all a small team. We can't help each other all the way, so don't fight. Yunwu didn't like to be super with others, because once she was in a hurry, she preferred to solve it directly. However, he still listened to Lao Hu's advice. As for Long Qingxie, as long as he didn't touch his scales, he would not say much. And his rebellious scale, nature is cloud dance. Only Lin Huer, pointing at Yunwu, choked Lao Hu endlessly. I think you just want to protect your daughter. They come to trouble me for your daughter, so you want to be a peacemaker. Although Lao Hu's strength is slightly worse than Lin Huer's, after all, he has been a team leader in the Warcraft forest for many years. When he meets a woman like Lin Huer, he is also very angry. Lin Huer, your strength is not the only tool to survive in the Warcraft forest. Here, teamwork, help each other, is the real way to survive. If you go your own way, you can try to go back by yourself. Lin Huer was dumbfounded by Lao Hu. She had already found out on the way here just now. Lao Hu has been following a special route. Obviously, he has his own way to avoid the danger zone. Now let her go back, she can't find the safest way. Although it's outside the Warcraft forest, it's not necessarily that there won't be any danger. The old man's face was full of beard. Now, what else can I do for you? Lin Huer forced down his anger and said to Lao Hu, you'd better let them be honest. Don't be unhappy with me, otherwise, I won't let them go again. As the captain of the team, of course, I will not allow the players to form a private feud, who said. Lin Huer looked at them with fire in his eyes, stamped his feet and walked to the other side of the line. Coco guilt to Lao Hu, Dad, I'm sorry, all blame me. Who naturally understood his daughter's temperament. Dragon 4, Small 5, wronged you, bear it, after all, her strength is stronger than you, reluctantly conflict with her, the loss is still you. Lao Hu sighed, and his attitude towards Cloud Dance and Dragon became more friendly because they were defending Coco. Cloud Dance nods lightway, well, we know how to do. Long Qingxie didn't reply, but Lao Hu subconsciously felt that they were brothers and naturally agreed. But he didn't know. Long Qingxie is not a good person, especially when he is dissatisfied. Of course, so far, nothing will be done. With such a small episode, in addition to encountering some relatively weak warcraft along the way, it was also peaceful and smooth. The little warcraft that was killed happened to be a tusk pig. When he camped at night, he was picked up by Lao Hu and the skinny man, and baked them for dinner. Coco is sitting next to Yunwu with a piece of crispy roast pork. Because today's Yunwu is making her debut, Coco's dependence on Yunwu is also increasing. Brother 5, is there anyone else in your family? I have a grandfather. For Yunwu, all the people in the Cloud family, except his grandfather Yunqi, seem to be no different from strangers. So far, at least. Are you and the fourth elder brother Long also out to make money and support their families? In Coco's small world, her father is the one who sees most. Naturally, this model is applied to them. Long Qingxie chimed in, yes, a big family. Your fifth brother and I are exhausted just making money every day. Cloud Dance sighed head looking at Long Qing evil, this person full of nonsense, really open-mouthed to come. In the light of the bonfire, Long Qingxie holds the ground with one hand and roasted pork with the other. The gesture makes Yunwu feel that he can still see the proud and noble Long Qingxie. This man is like this, even if he changed his appearance, changed his identity, and mixed in a group of people who are running for survival, it is hard to hide his difference. You two brothers are so sensible and capable. Everyone in your family has a good life. Lao Hu came over with a wine bag, with a bold smile. Cloud Dance pretends to be shy and says, it's just a little money earned by one's own ability. What's the ability? Fat Zhao Xing patted his belly like a ball and joined the dialogue. Xiao Wu, don't be modest. Brother, when I was your age, I only had the second-level strength. Other people also expressed their admiration for Yunwu's amazing strength when she was young and thin. Only Lin Huer, who was not sociable, said sarcastically, at such an age, I'm only in the middle of the 6th stage. Even if I know I'm ashamed, I'll come out to flatter others. Isn't it shameful? Originally, everyone chatted around the campfire happily. When Lin Huer interrupted, everyone's face was not very good-looking. Indeed, in addition to Cloud Dance looking like a teenager, Dragon Qing Xia in his early 20s never really showed his strength. The others were all 35 up, and Lao Hu even looked at them as more than 40 years old. The thin man threw away a pig rib that was gnawed clean and went back to the forest fire with disgust. I said that if you have a woman surnamed Lin, you really feel that you are so powerful. Compare with the people in Shenwang Samurai Academy, there are countless people who can be trampled to death. When Lin Huer heard the words, Shenwang Warrior Academy, his face was obviously not good-looking. If you can't get on the stage by yourself, you're going to move out of the King Samurai Academy to crush me? If you are really capable, you are better than me. Or, can you please find out which capable person in the Samurai Academy to compare with me? After hearing this, Yunwu felt bored. What happened to Shenwang Samurai Academy? At the beginning, those who died in her and Long Qingxi's hands were not the students there. The reason why she had to go there was just to find a quiet place for her self-cultivation, and also to find a reasonable reason to improve her strength. Lin Huer is also ridiculous. He thinks he is right, but he is afraid of the King Warrior Academy. Such a state of mind, doomed to her loser. Well, it's so late. Don't quarrel. Have a good rest. We'll have a day's journey tomorrow. Because of Lin Huer's bad words to Coco, Lao Hu didn't like her all the time, but now it's not time to join up with the army. Lin Huer's strength is also very important to them. Out of helplessness, he had to come out again to persuade peace. The thin man still respected Lao Hu. Seeing that he opened his mouth, he found an empty place and lay down to sleep. People who quarrel with themselves ignore themselves, and Lin Huer suddenly looks embarrassed. Lin Huer turned to old Hu and said, "You'd better warn them. Pay attention when you talk. I won't do it again next time. I also advise you that your strength is indeed the strongest here, but you'd better consider that if you encounter danger, other people don't help you, or if there is a conflict, they decide to work together to deal with you, then I can't stop it." Lao Hu's patience with Lin Huer is also limited. If Lin Huer causes problems in their team, it will be quite dangerous when they encounter unexpected situations. Lin Huer's eyelids twitch, and she is still afraid of what Lao Hu said. Even if Lao Hu and Coco stay out of the trouble, and 7 people in the middle of the 6th stage attack her together, she really has only one way to die. Such a warning obviously had an effect on her. Lin Huer angrily spread his cloak on the ground and lay down. I don't know if I really fell asleep or I'm still angry. However, who cares whether she sleeps or not, as long as she doesn't quarrel with others. Lao Hu made a simple sleeping place for Ku with his own cloak, and then came back to find Yunwu and Longqingxi who had not yet fallen asleep. Dragon 4, Little 5, you two should stay with me for the middle of the night. It's not the first time that Fat and Skinny and I get together. They'll get up in the middle of the night and watch Yunwu and Longqingxi don't reject these rules. Since they have joined other people's exploration team, they should act according to other people's rules. It wasn't long before there were regular purrs in the camp. The campfire was crackling and burning, and the light was warming everyone. Cloud Dance in the mind how much some care about Nangong Yi's business, while no one talks, is bored, pretended to chat. Uncle Hu, what's the poison in Nangongji? Why do you come to Warcraft Forest to find the antidote? Lao Hu added some dry firewood to the campfire and said with a puzzled expression, I don't know. Looking at that Nangong child, he doesn't look like a poisoned man. He has a ruddy complexion and can eat and sleep, but he means that he is poisoned and will die if he can't find an antidote. Cloud Dance is not abnormal after poisoning Nangong Yi, but it doesn't feel hard to accept. There are too many poisons that can do this step. I'm not sure. There are some special traces on Nangong Yi. He is counting down how many days he has left to live. Long Qingxie puts one hand on his knee and slightly squints at the Cloud Dance. You have so much to do with him. We don't know him well. Lao Hu didn't have any doubts about Long Qingxie's words. After all, no one would think that 2 brothers living in the Warcraft Forest would have anything to do with Nangongji. Cloud Dance coldly way. At least is also the employer, you took the money to work, shouldn't ask the situation. Long Qingxie is very displeased with what Yunwu said, he took Nangong Yi's money to do things for him. When is Nangong Yi's turn to be his employer? Fearing a dispute between the 2 brothers, Lao Hu said with a smile, when we get together with the big army, naturally someone will come to explain some of the things to you. I don't know the details. Yunwu knew that Lao Hu said this, which means that she couldn't ask any more. She immediately gave a bad look at Long Qingxie. Dragon Qing evil back to smile, in front of Lao Hu's face to Cloud Dance body, make a pair of brothers good appearance. Well, I'm wrong. Don't be angry. With that, Long Qingxie reaches out and touches Yunwu's face while others are in danger. From Lao Hu's point of view, it's just that the elder brother patted his younger brother. There's nothing wrong with it. Cloud Dance twists eyebrows to push the dragon to pour evil, if it is not for fear of old Who's suspicious, she just almost reflexively kicked out the dragon to pour evil. Lao Hu, who didn't know the real situation, sighed, just 2 brothers. If you have something to apologize for, you can make up. If only Coco had a brother or a sister, and she had company. Cloud Dance heart way, Coco if have such abnormal elder brother, you cry too late. There is not much movement in the camp at night, which leads to some special sounds, which will be particularly abrupt at this time. When the sound of some kind of creature crawling on the ground appears, Yunwu, Longqingxi and Lao Hu are all on the alert. Lao Hu raised his hand and whispered to them, don't panic. Maybe it's just some warcraft passing by. Let's see the situation first. Yunwu and Longqingxi also know that some passing warcraft will not turn around to attack people if they don't provoke them. They all listen to Laohu and watch the change. Sha 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 sha. Unfortunately, things don't seem as optimistic as Laohu expected. The sound of crawling closer and closer, as if with some cold-blooded animal's unique low temperature, pressure in everyone's heart. It wasn't long before they saw what warcraft was coming. It was a big snake with a body as thick as an adult, and its length was estimated to be more than 7 or 8 meters. Its tail fell in the dark, which could not be illuminated by the fire, which made it difficult for Yunwu to accurately judge its length. After Laohu saw the snake clearly, he became nervous. Well, how can I meet a man-eating snake here? Cloud Dance is the first time to encounter this thing. I don't know its strength, but looking at Laohu as if facing the enemy, I also know that it is definitely not a good object to pick up. Laohu drew out his épée and yelled to the others, "Get up, don't sleep. You'll die if you sleep again." In fact, except for Coco Accident, other people wake up when the man-eating snake shows its true colors. Warcraft Forest is a place full of murders. How dare these people who lick blood all the year round really sleep in it? Coco looked up drowsily, just saw the man-eating snake with black scales and spitting out letters. He was so scared that he woke up immediately. Fortunately, although Coco is young, he is not a stupid child who will cry when he sees these things. She grabbed the one on her side and quickly drew close to Laohu. "Dad, what's going on?" The wrinkles on Laohu's forehead were all wrinkled together. "I don't know. I used snake repellent when I was camping, and man-eating snakes shouldn't appear outside the Warcraft Forest." Several other people also joined with them at this time. With more people, we had more confidence. "Don't be greedy. What inferior medicine did you use?" Lin Huer was holding a cold shining machete in his hand. The blade of the machete was shining with blue light. It was obviously poisoned. By this time, this woman is still so fond of finding fault. Several other people have been bored with her, and no one even talks to her. Lin Huer has no interest in it. She doesn't talk anymore. Laohu worried that Yunwu and Longqingxi were going into the Warcraft Forest for the first time. He didn't know much about the man-eating snake, so he explained to them before the man-eating snake attacked. The cannibal snake looks red, and its strength has reached the peak of 5 levels. It is only 1 step away from the 6th level. At this time, it should be in the middle of the Warcraft Forest. How can it come to the periphery? Be careful. The venom of this man-eating snake is very corrosive. Once it sprays the venom, people will melt completely soon. Therefore, even those who have entered the 7th or 8th level dare not underestimate it. You too should be careful. Cloud Dance at this time to see the man-eating snake, the eye bright than just a little more alert. Even if you can fight, you will be melted if you touch the venom, which is much more terrible than the strength gap. After all, you don't know when a man-eating snake will spray that venom to kill you while fighting. Long Qingxie disguised his disdain very well, bowed his head and attached his ear to Yunwu's ear, and whispered a word. "There's no danger. I'm here." Cloud Dance doesn't even look at him. What if Long Qingxie is there? She doesn't intend to survive on him. Anyway, even if the situation is not good at that time, she has many cards in her hand, and there is always a solution. Although Lin Huer is conceited and annoying, he has some courage in the face of crisis. She weighed the machete in her hand and said to the others, "I'll rush to it in a moment, and you will cooperate with me to attack it from the side. Speed must be fast, before it sprays poison." Several other people have no objection to this. Lin Huer is willing to be the first to pass. This is the best. As soon as they reached an agreement, the man-eating snake snaked around the campfire and pounced on them fiercely. The jaw is so large that it is almost in a straight line. Under the illumination of the campfire, Yunwu can directly see its esophagus dripping with mucus. Lin Huer's reaction was not slow, and her fighting spirit gushed out of her body in an instant, pouring all of it into the poisoned machete in her hand. The shining blue light on the machete suddenly deepened, and the darkness was as mysterious as the deep sea. Seeing that the cannibal snake grew into a flat and straight line, it was about to bite Lin Huer's head. Lin Huer fiercely attacked the black scale jaw of the cannibal snake with his machete. Bang! The metal hum vibrated everyone's eardrum. Lin Huer's machete struck the snake's scale with a string of sparks. Only a small white mark was left on the scale of the man-eating snake. This discovery made Lin Huer's eyes twitch. She didn't expect that the scales of the man-eating snake were so hard. Although the man-eating snake was not hurt, Lin Huer's attack was not painless to it. But this man who dares to fight back has already angered the local snake who has some strength in the Warcraft forest. Hiss! The scarlet snake letter spits out from the mouth of the man-eating snake, shaking with disgusting movements. There was a layer of anger in the eyes of the black pearl snake. Just at the moment when Lin Huer was fighting with the man-eating snake, the others quickly dispersed around the man-eating snake, ready to make up for Lin Huer. Lin Huer didn't dare to delay. When the head of the man-eating snake shrank back, she could gather enough strength to attack again at any time. She looked at the man-eating snake fiercely, and her right hand trembled slightly. It turned out that the whole arm outside the sleeve was covered with a layer of visible blue light. Lin Huer knows that the strongest person here is her. If she can't hold on, no one can save her. Beast, die! When Lin Huer's machete came out again, Yunwu's sharp eyes saw that the force on the blade had condensed into a thin liquid state. This discovery, let Cloud dance to the strength of Forest Fire Sun, had some recognition. It's not a common thing for mediocrity to make power come into being. As an animal, the cannibal snake is naturally sensitive to crisis. When the human attacks again, it is acutely aware of danger. This feeling makes the man-eating snake more vicious. The huge snake's head, like an arrow, pours on the forest fire. In the big snake's mouth, there is a beast's beast. Lin Huer was also very afraid of the venom of the man-eating snake. He cut off several scales of the snake on his opponent's body with his machete and dodged the attack of the snake's head. About a snake scale the size of a human's palm was pried up and rolled by a machete. 2 or 3 pieces of broken snake scales fell to the ground, and the black blood flowed from the man-eating snake. Although it seems that Lin Huer succeeded in one blow and they have the upper hand, everyone's attitude is not optimistic. Lin Huer tried his best to strike, but he didn't cause any fatal damage to the snake. If it goes on like this, what's the use of other people? The cannibal snake hissed in pain. It bent its soft body to check its injury. When it saw the tender meat that had been scraped off the scales, a blood-red color spread from the eyes of the snake like a light bulb. It straightens up and stares down at Lin Huer, whose eyes make Lin Huer shudder. This kind of injury finally completely angered the man-eating snake. At the same time, Yunwu, who was always watching the battle, suddenly found that the 2 fangs of the man-eating snake became transparent in the blink of an eye. She could see the black venom flowing rapidly. Lao Hu also found this. He yelled at Lin Huer in horror. "Get out of the way, it's going to spray poison." Lin Huer wants to escape, but it's faster than the animal who is mad because of injury. The fangs became as transparent as glass, and the black venom spewed out like a sharp arrow, splashing at the forest fire with the speed of lightning. The next second, Lin Huer, who confronts with the man-eating snake, cries bitterly. Her ordinary face, which had been splashed with venom, was rapidly festering at the speed visible to the naked eye. To the same end, there is her arm holding a machete, a strong arm, and soon you can see the white bones covered by muscles. "Dig up the rotten meat, quick! Or you will die." As soon as Old Who finished this sentence, the man-eating snake twisted its head and stared at him. It seems that the next target of the beast is him. I don't know if the cannibal snake is still a little afraid of their large numbers. It just stares at Lao Hu, but it never takes the initiative to attack. On the other hand, in order not to be corroded to death by the venom of the man-eating snake, Lin Huer was determined. She took a dagger out of her boot and cut her body, which was splashed by the venom of man-eating snake, without hesitation. In order to cut off future trouble, she cut every knife very deeply, and the blood flowed down. The smell of blood belonging to one's own kind stimulated everyone's nervous tension. Cloud Dance can be regarded as a thorough understanding of the current situation. If they continue to let go, the expedition team, in addition to the total annihilation, I'm afraid there will be no other end. Of course, she and the dragon can live on their own. The rest of the team looked at Lao Hu with all kinds of eyes. There's compassion, and maybe, there's something that's not their turn to celebrate. Only Coco, she stepped forward and stood in front of old Hu. Dad, you take people away. This is another unwritten rule of the exploration team. When the enemy is unmanageable, the one with the worst strength will stay behind. In fact, it's just sacrificing one person's time to give others a chance to escape. Seemingly cruel, but, who can say, the whole army will be better than just one death. Coco, go with them and be obedient. Lao Hu excitedly tugged at Coco. No father could watch his daughter die for himself. Cloud Dance looks at the two father and daughter rushing to die. Suddenly, Cloud Lingyi's face, which is cold and disgusting, comes across in her mind. She did not delay. The old Hu and Coco are thrown behind. That's enough, you go, I and the dragon after the fourth dragon break. Lao Hu was moved by Yunwu, but he was not optimistic about the strength of the two brothers. Even Lin Huer doesn't have the power to fight against this beast. What about Long Si and Xiao Wu, whose strength is still under Lin Huer? The cannibal snake is tired of this group of human push and push tricks. Its huge body meanders on the ground, making a rustling sound that makes people feel numb. Yunwu raised his head and looked at the cold-blooded animal. The coldness of his eyes was no less than that of the other. Standing behind Yunwu, Long Qingxie seems to have no opinion on any of her decisions, but if the people present have a heart, they will notice that he looks into Yunwu's eyes with great appreciation and love. He never loved those delicate daughter flowers. Only the poppy-like Yunwu was the woman he could really fall in love with. Seeing Cloud Dance's resolute attitude, Lao Hu reluctantly pulled Coco back, but he didn't make up his mind to leave. If Cloud Dance can only resist for a moment, what's the difference between them escaping or not? And if Cloud Dance really has the strength that accords with her own confidence, then, they don't have to escape. With other people's attention, Yunwu raised her hand to touch the space bracelet and took out the fine sword that Dragon Qingxie gave her. This is the first time that she has used this sword to fight. Cloud Dance's shoulders slightly sink. The whole person is shrouded in an indescribable calm atmosphere. You are lucky. Today, come and help me try my sword. The cannibal snake can't understand Yunwu's words, but it can feel Yunwu's contempt, and the snake's spitting speed is faster. With forest fire in front of it, this group of human beings, and not much fear. As Yunwu infuses the fighting spirit into the fine sword in Yunwu's hand makes a sharp sound. The sound can make people hear their emotions, just like a small beast full of strength, singing happily. In the twinkling of an eye, the flaming flame enveloped the whole body of the sword. The light was very bright, and it had passed the campfire in the center of the camp. When the serpent saw the burning sword, its huge body tilted back. No matter how fierce the animal is, it has animal nature. It is afraid of fire. Cloud Dance is to understand, this is also because the fire attribute in her body is not ordinary goods, it is the original fire of Red Fire Dragon. One dragon and one snake, which is stronger or weaker, will be known by the name. During the short time when the cannibal snake confronts Yunwu, Lao Hu and others sweat through their clothes. Although it's funny to place all of your life and death on a thin young man. But at this time, they have no choice. The air is about to condense. Suddenly, a layer of floating light flits over the eye of the man-eating snake. It and Cloud Dance attack each other at the same time. Because of the fear of fire, this time the snake opened its mouth and spewed out the venom that had been brewing for a long time. In the frightened sight of Lao Hu and others, Yunwu's body twists a wonderful arc in mid-air with incredible flexibility, just to avoid those deadly venoms. And the thin sword in her hand, it is extremely fierce, directly stabbed into the right eye of the snake. Roar! The cannibal snake was suddenly hit hard, and suddenly rolled on the ground in pain, because the thin sword in Yunwu's hand was full of fighting fire, which made the wound on its eyes burn a little bit instantly, and even the blood could not flow out. Coco let out a small cheering, Cloud Dance hit, let just some despair of them, have rekindled a little hope. Yunwu doesn't have the stupid habit of waiting for her opponent to relieve the pain and then avenge herself. When the man-eating snake twitches on the ground, she pursues it. Yunwu's petite body soared up in the air, and with the help of gravity, he increased his power when he went down. The second sword, full of strength, was stabbing heavily at the 7-inch place of the man-eating snake. The breath of some dispirited piranha felt the attack from above, as well as the temperature of the flame that it was afraid of. In the face of the arrogance of human beings, the piranha burst out the final counterattack. It suddenly rolled its huge body on the ground, avoiding the cloud-dancing sword. At the same time, all the black venom in the tusks was sprayed towards the cloud. Everyone's heart is cold. Cloud Dance rushes down in the way of head and foot, which is unavoidable in mid-air. When Long Qingxie saw this scene, his dark pupils suddenly shrank. He has confidence in the strength of Cloud Dance, and this time he takes her into Warcraft Forest to experience her. Therefore, the dragon does not want to be a protector. He hopes that Cloud Dance can get enough strength to match him and stand beside him. However, this does not mean that the dragon will watch the Cloud Dance to die. In the face of the life and death scene, Long Qingxie leans forward slightly, ready to rescue Yunwu at any time. But out of the death crisis, Yunwu heard the voice of Hyo from the Chaos Palace. Don't step back. It'll be okay. Because of the words of Hyo, Yunwu decided to continue to attack without hesitation. With the master and servant contract, Hyo can never do anything to kill her, unless Hyo wants to die. People see Cloud Dance still keep dive posture, just understand, she is not to give up to kill the snake. Little 5. Long Qingxie couldn't help crying out anxiously. In his eyes, Yunwu's action was to die together, and the jade and stone were all on fire. Yunwu realized that the dragon was going to attack. At the critical moment, she called out 3 words. Don't come here. Just before she said anything, the venom of the man-eating snake had already sprayed towards her. Night has become the best cover-up for everything, even the dragon has not seen the evil, while the venom sprayed to the clouds, her body appeared a layer of black mist like tulle. Those mists just make it impossible for the venom to touch the clouds. Moreover, in the blink of an eye, the venom is just like being evaporated, disappearing with the black fog. Cloud Dance's red flaming sword pierced into the snake's 7 inches. The tip of the sword against the hard metal scales made a harsh sound of friction, Cloud eyes narrowed, all the power gathered on the tiny tip of the sword. In an instant, the scales that made the man-eating snake fearless were like butter cheese cut by a hot blade. They melted down and let the Cloud Dance sword pierce into the most deadly 7 inches of the man-eating snake. The snake didn't even make a whine at last. Its huge body twitched and trembled, and it took up a lot of dust. Finally, it died quietly. Long Qingxie can't wait for Yunwu to come out, so he rushes into the rolling smoke. Little 5. How are you doing? Yunwu touched the dust on his face and said to the dragon, what are you excited about? What else can I do? Long Qingxie was stunned when he saw Yunwu's face, which was not hurt at all, but was dirty. He saw the venom of those man-eating snakes splashing on Yunwu with his own eyes. Lao Hu and them have long been scared to speechless by Yunwu's effort to do nothing. At this moment, seeing the cloud dancing miraculously in the venom of the man-eating snake, all people's hearts jumped wildly. This young man named Xiao Wu is not as simple as he seems. They are likely to meet the real hidden master. Cloud Dance turned a blind eye to their straight eyes and reminded Lao Hu with an ordinary attitude. Uncle Hu, is there anything on this man-eating snake that can sell money? Do you want to deal with it before you start? Oh, yes, scales of man-eating snake are the materials that many forgers want, and its tusks. Lao Hu blinked hard as he woke up from a dream, and said to the tall, short, fat and thin four, come here and help. Coco also carried his own weapons and went to work with him. When passing by Yunwu, Coco looks at her with some formality and envy. Because the strength of Cloud Dance has made Coco feel unlikely to become friends with each other. In this world of strength, she is too small, but Cloud Dance is too powerful. After Lao Hu assigned the division of labor to the tall, short, fat and thin four, he returned to Yunwu. Xiao Wu, you are responsible for the man-eating snake this time, but the rule of the exploration team is that all the proceeds from the sale of prey should be shared by everyone. Lao Hu said that he was very embarrassed. The man-eating snakes were all solved by Yunwu alone. She not only killed a man-eating snake, but also saved all their lives. But this is the rule of the expedition team, and it won't change because of this kind of accident. Just follow the rules, I don't care. Yunwu is not very interested in the money. First, she is here to improve her strength. Second, she keeps the treasure in the space bracelet, which is enough to spend, not short of money. Lao Hushan said, Xiao Wu, you can rest assured that everyone will not be unhappy at this time. The most share must be yours, and others will follow. Cloud Dance's jaw head, turned to look at the man-eating snake. Uncle Hu, this is just the periphery of the Warcraft forest. Why are there 4 to 5 level Warcraft? Like human society, Warcraft forest divides its territory according to its strength, and its level is even more distinct than that of human society. Few Warcraft leave their territory and go to places that don't belong to them. I don't know. I've met some Warcraft that leave their own area before, but they will go to the peripheral area, and the highest level will not exceed level 3. It's absolutely impossible for a man-eating snake to appear. Lao Hu was also puzzled when he looked at the dead man-eating snake, which was being dismembered. Cloud Dance's look is a little dim, looking at the empty space where the body of the cannibal snake is placed, where the tall, short, fat and thin quartet and Coco are busy dissecting their booty. Warcraft, which shouldn't be here, is attracted by what? Yunwu's eyes turned around the camp. When he saw the forest fire lying on the ground, he remembered that there was such a person. Now Lin Huer is like a half-mummy. She has all the things she has prepared. After digging out the rotten skin, she bites her teeth, applies medicine and bandages. At first, half a face stained with blood, and half a face wrapped in bandages that was bleeding. Let the original ordinary, but not because of the appearance of her face and be resisted, completely turned into a daytime walking in the street, can also frighten other people's children crying terror woman. Lao Hu sighed beside him. Alas, this forest fire son's actual strength is good, only this time of injury, I'm afraid the whole life can only be like this. Lin Huer's right hand uses a knife, but now, the flesh and blood of her whole right arm is almost gouged out by herself, and there is nothing left except bones. She is just like a useless person. Cloud Dance didn't answer, on the contrary, it made a wink to the dragon, and the two people walked towards the dark place that the bonfire couldn't shine on. Lin Huer's life and death have nothing to do with her. Lao Hu doesn't dare to talk nonsense to Yunwu now. A young man who can kill a man-eating snake in 2 moves by himself and survive in the venom of a man-eating snake has lost the qualification to educate each other. After Long Qingxie and Yunwu stand together, the first thing is to ask why Yunwu can survive in the venom of man-eating snakes. Dragon Qingxie reaches out and puts his hand on Yunwu's shoulder, with a trace of evil smile in his eyes. Little thing, do you want to keep a secret from me? Yunwu naturally can't tell her that between the lightning and flint, she directly let Hyo sort out some black fog to cover herself, isolate the venom, and transfer the venom to the Palace of Chaos. Cloud Dance's eyes flickered slightly and raised her hand to shake her own space bracelet. In here. Long Qingxie looks at her empty wrist. He also knows that Yunwu's hand is always wearing that space bracelet. However, the space bracelet of this little thing seems very unusual. Can not only let the living creatures like Hongling live in it, but also instantly collect the venom scattered all over the body? Yunwu said to the dragon, "Why don't you believe it? Shall I pour out the venom and feed it to you?" Dragon Qingxie relieved a smile, pinched her now youth face. "Why don't you believe me? You are lucky to get such a strange space object. I'm not going to drink that." Cloud Dance secretly breathed a sigh of relief, but didn't dare to show it in front of Long Qingxie, just looked at him rather bored. Long Qingxie's smile was ambiguous. He lowered his head to Cloud Dance's ear and said, "If you are a little thing, I will drink arsenic." Yunwu was excited by the evil breath of dragon, and pushed him far away. "Can you show your face? Now we are brothers." How can a brother make such an ambiguous move to his brother? Long Qingxie is shameless. She doesn't want to follow him and be misunderstood as a pervert. "Little thing, no matter who you are a man for your husband." Long Qingxie showed his hand indifferently and despised those secular rules from the bottom of his heart. He is such a man, everything is always arbitrary, no one can restrain him, there are no rules for him to abide by. Yunwu is probably the first person in his life who can take the initiative to accommodate and worry. And it's basically the only one. Long Qingxie, remember, I'm my own. I don't want to repeat this sentence with you again. Yunwu doesn't know the inner world of Long Qingxie. Just looking at his image as a prodigal son is enough to upset him. He wants to kick this man away at any time as if he has never known him. The dragon leaned against the tree trunk, looked at the cloud and said, "Tut, what a cruel and heartless little thing. Well, let's get down to business. When you bring your husband for a tryst, it's not just to confess what's wrong with your space bracelet, is it?" Cloud Dance has no mind to waste time correcting his words. "What tryst? Hell of a discount. What do you think of the man-eating snake that suddenly appeared? It turns out that little things can't think about things clearly, but is this your attitude of asking for help for your husband?" Dragon Qing Evil deliberately sighed face to the clouds, narrow eyes with a little amorous feelings of male and female indistinguishable. The temptation is self-evident. Cloud Dance stares at Long Qingxie coldly, and suddenly reaches out his hand and pats his side face. Long Qingxie's eyes saw Cloud Dance, and a silver needle was between his fingers. He held her wrist like lightning. Seeing the poisonous silver needles in Yunwu's hands, Long Qingxie's white teeth will be broken by himself. "Little thing, are you going to murder your husband?" Cloud Dance said calmly, "I thought you didn't drink the poison." I don't want to say that although the poison needle is a little worse than the poison, it can also let you experience the feeling of poisoning. Dragon Qing Evil, one breath blocked in the chest, really have a kind of impulse to strangle this little thing. But raised his hand, and reluctant, seriously love and hate. Long Qingxie took a deep breath, and Yunwu's familiar unrestrained smile came back to his face again. "Put away your trinkets, husband and wife are welcome, but when the public is watching, forget it." In fact, Yunwu didn't think that she could really hurt Long Qingxie at the beginning. These days, she was very clear. For the external defense, the dragon will only be more evil than her, absolutely not less than her. I just feel that I have been used to treating him in such a way. Long Qingxie looked at the corpse of the man-eating snake and said to the cloud, "That man-eating snake will come here. There must be something attracting it. Maybe it's from other people, maybe it's from here itself." The cloud dances, the heart moves. "You mean, is there anything here that might make the cannibal snake take the initiative to leave the territory? If it's really like this, a thing that can attract 4th order and close to 5th order warcraft must not be an ordinary product. If you can find it, it may be a big harvest." "Maybe, but if you want to find it, it's better to avoid those people." Long Qingxie has never trusted this expedition team. A group of people who hang their heads on their waistbands to make a living, a temporary expedition team, who is really credible? None of them. Yunwoo doesn't object to Dragon's evil words, because she also thinks so. Even to Lao Hu and Coco, she just doesn't feel disgusted. When it comes to trust, it's impossible. Long Qingxie raises his hand and embraces Yunwoo's shoulder. The two brothers seem to embrace her and go to the camp together. Come on, tonight's night is still long. In the camp, they are still busy dealing with the corpses of man-eating snakes. It's a big project just to peel off all the intact snake scales. However, both Yunwoo and Long Qingxie also found that the atmosphere of the expedition was not right. When Lao Hu saw them coming back, he walked towards them with a little expectation on his face. Yunwoo didn't go to see other people, but asked Lao Hu, "Uncle Hu, what's the matter?" Old Hu pointed to the half-dead forest fire lying on the ground. The forest fire is too injured to follow us into the forest. Cloud Dance suddenly understand why the atmosphere will be strange. Lin Huer is so hurt that he can't go back alone. That is to say, one of the current team members must take her back and send her to heal. However, who here would be willing to give up such a well-paid task for such a strange woman? Not to mention, before that, Lin Huer's cheap mouth had offended the whole expedition team. Long Qingxie lowered his eyelashes. After thinking for a while, he had an idea in his heart. No one wants to take her back. How about me and Xiao Wu taking her out? All people are surprised to see Long Qingxie, don't know how he would be willing to sacrifice time and money to build on the woman Lin Huer. The thin man put down the fangs of the cannibal snake, and looked at the dragon with disapproval. Dragon 4, you and Xiao 5 are the security of the whole exploration team. If you leave, what will happen again? Everyone else agrees. After the experience of the man-eating snake, everyone has a new look at Yunwoo. In a faint sense, they have already obeyed Yunwoo's advice and regarded her as a sign of protecting God. Just experienced a disaster, at this time, let the patron saint of the whole exploration team to escort a useless person, leave them here, how can they accept it? Long Qingxie was embarrassed and said, "But you don't want to go. If Xiao Wu and I don't go, do you want to see her die here?" In fact, this is exactly what we have in mind. They don't care about the life and death of Lin Huer. The self-righteous woman died in this place, rotted with the corpse of the man-eating snake, and became the belly meal of other low-level warcraft, which just taught her the best lesson. It's just that no one is stupid enough to say that. After thinking about it, old Husi was not willing to let Yunwoo leave. However, as a team leader, he can't let Lin Huer die. Otherwise, he will not be able to find any team members who are willing to follow him in Warcraft Forest. Long Si, why don't you leave Xiao Wu behind and send Lin Huer away? We'll leave later and wait for you to come back. Lao Hu has his own consideration. Long Qingxie has never been involved. They don't know what the strength of Long Qingxie is. Naturally, the safest way is to leave the stronger Cloud Dance behind. In a family, it is a miracle to have a talent as powerful as Yunwoo. How can there be a second one? Long Qingxie also understood Lao Hu's meaning, but he didn't care whether he would be separated from Yunwoo temporarily. Anyway, now the Cloud Dance has proved that she has enough strength to protect herself. At present, these people in the exploration team can't help her. In this case, by sending away Lin Huer, he searched alone to see if there was any treasure in this area to attract the man-eating snake, which was the most appropriate plan. Well, just do as Uncle Hu said. I'll take Lin Huer out. You just keep going. Just leave some marks along the way for me, and I'll catch up with you. Long Qingxie doesn't want them to wait in place. In that case, how can he search for treasures? Well, that's it. Be safe on your way. In fact, Lao Hu was not willing to delay his time, so Long Qingxie took the initiative to put forward it, and he pushed the boat with the current. Other people are also very satisfied with the result, as long as it does not harm their interests, they have no opinion. And the only episode of this matter is that Long Qingxie insists on not going out with forest fire on his back. I'm kidding. Why does he have to carry a half-dead woman? There is only one woman who is worthy of touching his dragon. In desperation, they had to temporarily find some dead trees and vines, tied up a simple towable raft, put the forest fire on it, and let Long Qingxie drag her away. Lao Hu put Lin Huo on the raft and told Long Qingxie, Dragon 4, you must pay attention to safety. Along the way, I will carve a guide mark on the tree trunk. After you send her out, come to us as soon as possible. Don't worry, our fifth child is still with you. Of course I will come back. Xiao Wu, wait for me to come back. Long Qingxie touched Yunwu's head. Due to their current, brotherly relationship, Yunwu had to bear it. In order to be quick, Long Qingxie left with Lin Huo before dawn. Although Lin Huo, who was dragged on the raft like a corpse of Warcraft, was full of humiliating pain, he did not dare to say anything in this half-dead state. Angered others, they directly threw her in the Warcraft forest, then she really only had a dead end. After Long Qingxie left, the camp was quiet again. Coco took advantage of everyone's rest and gave Yunwu a piece of clean scale of man-eating snake. Brother 5, this is your booty. Take this as a souvenir. Cloud Dance looked at the dark and shiny snake scale, didn't say anything, and took it directly. Coco's expression is a little careful sitting next to Yunwu, observing her expression. Yunwu looks down at Coco and asks, are you afraid of me? Coco quickly shook his head and said, no, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of Brother 5. You don't want to be friends with me. How? Cloud Dance rarely can contact with this kind of unintended children. This kind of relaxed feeling is even a luxury for her. Coco excitedly looked at the cloud and said, really? Even if I can't be as powerful as my fifth brother, would you like to be my friend? Well, really. Don't think about it. Go to bed. I'll be on my way tomorrow. Yunwu comforted Coco, put the black scales in his hands for a while, and went to sleep with his clothes. Although the first half of the night has not passed, but she alone to deal with the man-eating snake, presumably, no one would dare to let her continue to watch the night. In the state of shallow sleep, Yunwu sinks his spirit into the sea of consciousness and enters the Hall of Chaos. Hayo is always sitting quietly in the Chaos Palace. Behind him is the vigorous Xianyuan fruit tree. The green branches and leaves are windless, which exudes intoxicating vitality. And in such a background, a black pride, it seems more lonely. Black Ao saw Cloud Dance to come, didn't speak, but just looked at her one eye, continued to hold in the hands of a floating black poison. Yunwu recognized that it was the venom that the man-eating snake wanted to use to kill her. She looked around and asked Hayo, what about Hongling? Hayo pointed to a mass of black fog in mid-air. I've built a place where they can sleep, and when you want to use them, I'll let them out. It's not harmful to them, is it? Yunwu knows that Hayo won't hurt her, but she's really not sure whether she will do anything to Hongling with Hayo's temper. That little monster and that snake, aren't you still useful? I'm not going to kill them. Cloud Dance also understood the meaning of Black Ao, that is to say, if Hongling they are useless to her at this time, for the things that break into Chaos Hall, Black Ao is afraid to kill one by one. Cloud Dance looks at the black pride playing with venom, and thinks of another thing. And the rabbit? Black proud action, the hands of the venom with coagulation. Eaten by that little monster. Hayo's mood is obviously not very good because Hongling ate rabbits. Yunwu thinks that Hayo is really locked up here every day. It's boring. It's rare for him to have a rabbit to play with. Hongling's food is still eaten. He didn't kill Hongling, which really gave her face. After all the gossip, Yunwu looks at the venom in Hayo's hand and has one last question. Is that venom useful to you? Black Ao's 5 fingers move with a sense of rhythm. The mass of venom floating in his hands is shaking and rolling, like a mass of black crystal, flashing light streamer. If you add some more things, you can become a pill, take one every day, and your strength can be restored. What else do you need? Cloud Dance heard quite surprised. Black Proud's strength recovery more, the more favorable to her. Black Ao's fingers closed, and the venom returned to the liquid state, shuttling between his fingers. The venom that others avoid is not as good as a toy when it comes to Hayo's hands. The most important thing is the 5 poison stone, which is hard to find. Hayo himself didn't seem to have any hope for this. He finally threw away his hand, and the venom disappeared like evaporation out of thin air. In fact, it was integrated into his body. Cloud Dance can't figure out what kind of state the black fog is now. Even those venoms are not afraid at all. Tell me what I look like and where I have it. I'll help you find it. I said when I signed the contract that I would try my best to help you recover your original strength, didn't I? Black Ao, some moving looking at Cloud Dance, that piece of carbon black face, seems to have a smile, but, that smile fleeting, even Cloud Dance, did not see. The 5 poison stone is in the Warcraft forest. It is a common stone by nature. No one can recognize it when it is placed on the roadside. However, it can attract those poisonous Warcraft to approach it. This is a kind of instinct for those Warcraft, and when those Warcraft close, they will be slowly sucked up by the 5 poison stone, and finally become corpses. After listening to Hayo's explanation, Yunwoo always feels that there is a string in her mind, which is being gently stirred by someone, numb and itching, and an idea comes to her mind. Hayo, the man-eating snake, appeared here for no reason. Was it attracted by the 5 venom stones? When we think of this possibility, Yunwoo is inevitably excited. She originally thought that it was extremely difficult to find something that could make Hayo recover her strength. Unexpectedly, she met such good luck with a crooked attitude. Don't be happy. The 5 poison stone may appear anywhere. But no matter where it is, no one else can find it. Do you forget what I said? It's no different from ordinary stone. It has no characteristics. Yunwoo's enthusiasm was extinguished by the cold water of Hayo, but he would not give up hope. Long Qingxie has gone to find him. He is not so knowledgeable. Maybe he can bring back a piece of 5 poison stone. That crooked boy, do you really count on him? Black Proud sneer. Obviously don't see up to eye to the dragon to pour evil. Others can't see the way that the dragon casts evil to increase his strength, but it doesn't mean he can't see his black pride. With that kind of devious cultivation, where is the human cultivation method? Even some high-level Warcraft can't catch up with his bloody cruelty. Yunwoo didn't expect that Hayo had such a big opinion on Dragon Qingxie. After all, Hayo didn't seem to be a decent person. Anyway, let's see if there's any good news when he comes back. Even if he brings the 5 poison stone back, how can you persuade him to give it to you and explain the use of the 5 poison stone to a person who knows the value of the 5 poison stone? Cloud Dance really didn't expect so far. Black Ao said so. Her head also followed the pain up. This time, she can't use Space Bracelet as an excuse. How can there be a space item that needs 5 poison stones? Cloud Dance finally decided to try. To Black Proud way, there will always be a way, this matter to me. Hayo shook his head and didn't speak. After spending so long time in the Chaos Hall, he has learned not to make unnecessary delusions. Even if he has been looking forward to the real resurrection, after meeting Yunwoo and getting the first chance to recover, he just chose to wait quietly. Because, some things, not you to look forward to fantasy, can come true. The greater the expectation, the deeper the despair. Cloud Dance also can experience some Black Proud mood. In fact, she is not what sunshine positive little girl, at this time also can't say too many naive simple stupid words to cheat Black Proud. Everything is waiting for Long Qingxie to come back. I can't stay here all the time. If someone outside comes to me for something, it's easy to be suspected. If there's anything, just contact me with your heart sound. After the explanation, Yunwoo withdrew from the sea of consciousness and returned to the outside world. She opened her eyes and looked at the situation of the camp. Coco had fallen asleep. Lao Hu and others were dealing with the snake scales and watching the night by the way. Nothing else. After experiencing all kinds of things brought by man-eating snakes, this busy night finally came to peace. Cloud Dance also sees the time to sleep, who knows what will happen tomorrow. Let all unexpected thing is, just daybreak, Long Qingxie alone back to the camp. When they went into the Warcraft forest, they had been walking for a day. Now the dragon has gone back and forth for only half a night. How can it be? Seeing Long Qingxie approaching, everyone's eyes changed. This dragon 4, shouldn't be to throw forest fire sun to where? Lao Hu also had such worries in his heart. He looked at Yunwu and finally asked about the dragon. Dragon 4, where's Lin Huo? Long Qingxie said with regret, she didn't clean up the venom. The venom has gone to the bone. I dragged her all the way, and it became lighter and lighter. Looking back, there was only water left on the raft. People who are cooking porridge in daily life listen to him and look at the porridge in their bowls, which makes them feel sick. Only Cloud Dance face unchanged with last night's remaining roast pork, eat breakfast is very sweet. Who can't see if she believes in dragon's evil words? Well, I can't help it. That's fate. We've tried our best. Since Long Qingxie has given reasons, Lao Hu doesn't want to continue to ask. For the sake of a dead Lin Huo, it is obviously extremely unwise to offend the most powerful and even mysterious Xiao Wu and his brother in the whole team. Well, Dragon 4, come and have breakfast. You haven't slept all night. At least you have to keep up. Long Qingxie was very satisfied with Lao Hu's appearance, so he sat down beside Yunwu. Yunwu just had enough to eat. He put the bowl on the ground and got up to leave. Long Qingxie said with a brazen smile, our little 5 is really sensible. When I see my brother coming, I still know how to give him a bowl. Other people just thought that the two brothers had a good relationship, and then they laughed twice, but they didn't take it seriously. Long Qingxie really didn't mind that it was the bowl Yunwu had just used. He served porridge from the pot on the campfire and ate roast pork for 2. Cloud Dance has been waiting for Long Qingxie to finish his meal. When others are cleaning up the camp, they wink at him and take him to one side. Did you find anything? Long Qingxie smiles. You didn't ask me how that forest fire died. Cloud Dance indifferently looking at Dragon Qingxie, without the slightest emotion asked, does her life and death have anything to do with me? Little thing, I just like your character. Unfortunately, I don't like you. Come on, have you got anything? Long Qingxie is used to refuting Yunwu. He looks back at the camp and makes sure no one dares to come. Then he takes something from his space ring. Little thing, have you ever heard of the 5 poison stone? Looking at the ordinary stone in Long Qingxie's hand, plus the sentence that Long Qingxie said. Cloud Dance's heart beat all missed a beat. Dragon Qingxie unexpectedly really got 5 poison stone. Little thing, do you know the 5 poison stone? As soon as Long Qingxie saw Cloud Dance, he seemed a little excited, so he had some doubts. It's hard for ordinary people to know the 5 poison stone, even if they only hear its name. If it wasn't for his dragon pavilion that some special people came to sell things on consignment, or to buy some rare treasures, even if it was for the dragon's evil spirits, they would not have had a chance to hear about it. Yunwu took a breath without any trace, restrained his strange emotion, and said evil to the dragon, I know it's not surprising that I'm allowed to go in and out of the Cloud family now. I've just seen a few classics by accident. Long Qingxie also thinks it's reasonable. Yunqi attaches importance to Cloud Dance, which he knows. Long Qingxie throws the 5 poison stone in his hand and looks at the clouds with long and thin eyes. Well, how much do you know about 5 poison stones, little things? Isn't it just a stone to attract poison? In fact, Yunwu knows what he knows, but he doesn't intend to explain what he knows. Her next step is to find a way to take the 5 poison stone from Long Qingxie's hand. If he gets suspicious too early, what else can she do? Long Qingxie smiles when he hears the words, and the light of the morning sun covers his eyelashes and eyebrows with a layer of fuzzy golden halo, matching with the light of a few gold filigrees in his eyes. At that moment, Yunwu really felt that this man was as handsome as the fox demon in Liaozhai, which made people unable to move their eyes. Long Qingxie scratched Yunwu's cheek with his backhand and joked, "Don't look at me like this. I can't go on talking about my husband like this." Cloud Dance whitey one eye, just now that a little bit like human-like demon feeling, must be her illusion. Long Qingxie took the 5 poison stone and said to Yunwu, "In fact, it's due to Lin Huer that we can find this 5 poison stone." Cloud Dance doesn't understand of C to Long Qingxie, Lin Huer's son isn't dead, concern her what matter. Wei Fu really wanted to be a good man and throw the forest fire to the edge of the Warcraft forest to let her live and die. After all, there are people passing by, and if she's lucky, she won't die. Long Qingxie squinted slightly, as if carefully recalling every detail at that time. With that, Long Qingxie pretended to sigh and continued, "Who knows, Lin Huer had to lie down from the raft in the middle of the walk. She wanted to die herself, so I didn't have to work anymore." Cloud Dance immediately understood the key point. She said, "Is the 5 poison stone found by Lin Huer?" Yes, this time she went into the Warcraft forest, she probably wanted to look for the 5 poison stone. But, bad luck, half dead by a man-eating snake. Long Qingxie answered the question of Cloud Dance and began to talk about the situation at that time. Wei Fu originally wanted to go straight, but I found that there were many poisonous snakes and insects gathering in the place where the forest fire crawled. At that time, the 5 venom stone was wrapped in those things, which was like a ball with no way to start. A stone completely wrapped by poisonous snakes and insects, even Yunwu was surprised to think of such a picture. However, how can it be difficult to find the obvious characteristics of the 5 poison stone? This Cloud Dance has some problems. Although Dragon Qingxie is powerful, he is not an expert in this field after all. It's normal when he can't start. So, how did he bring the 5 poison stones back? In the face of Cloud Dance's confused sight, Long Qingxie smiles. "Don't you forget," I said, "it's Lin Huer's credit." Cloud Dance picked eyebrow of Ci Dragon to pour evil. "So, you directly killed Forest Fire's son, use her to block those poison?" Although this is a guess, but with this man's temperament, it is probably that. "Sure enough, you are still a little man." The dragon caresses his hand and laughs. However, in Yunwu's eyes, he said, "Of course, Wei Fu is not so cruel. He just helped her a little, and then Lin Huer threw himself on the poison ball. After being disturbed, all the poisons are transferred to her, and Wei Fu can just take back the 5 poison stone." Cloud Dance listened to Dragon Qing evil understatement, but in the heart is a speechless. Although she didn't dislike this man's bloody means, sometimes, this man's means really made her feel chilly. No matter whether Lin Huer and them had a festival or not, they didn't hurt each other. It's impossible to save Lin Huer before she gets hurt with the dragon's ability to pour evil. However, at that time, he might have been able to see the existence of the 5 poison stone. In order to obtain the 5 poison stone, he sacrificed Lin Huer. "Little thing, what are you thinking? My husband is by my side. Are you still so inattentive that you want to be punished?" Long Qingxie's thoughts on Cloud Dance, naturally, can guess that 8 or 9 are inseparable from 10, but he doesn't have the meaning of guilt or explanation. When he did things, he only asked himself whether he wanted to do it or not, and when did he ask others whether they would like it or not. In this world, the strong ask respect, their strength is not as good as people, who can blame for death. Cloud Dance looks at the dragon to pour evil, similarly also roughly guessed what he thought. "The people in this world, the law of the jungle, since you are not strong enough to die, do you want to aggrieve yourself for an unrelated weak person?" Think of here, Cloud Dance suddenly feel, maybe, she really with this man is very similar. Now that you have got the 5 poison stone, you should know its usage, too. Long Qingxie looks at the stone in his hand in distress. Suddenly, his good-looking black eyes fall on Yunwu's face. Little thing, this 5 poison stone is a good thing. Why don't we give it to you? Think of it as a gift from you to get rid of that man-eating snake. Yunwoo didn't seem to think about it. He gave her the 5 poison stone directly, but he said it on purpose. You want me to take this thing with you? Are you trying to kill me? Little thing, when can you not distort my husband's mind? Long Qingxia grabs Yunwoo's hand and puts the 5 poison stone into her hand. When the 5 poison stones are not on people, they are designed to attract poison to strengthen themselves. However, when the 5 poison stone follows people, it will no longer attract poisons. On the contrary, it will drive away other poisons for you and keep you safe. Really? Cloud Dance pick eyebrow, some doubt. Or is it the first time I've heard that there are such friendly things in nature? And it is really a stone, not an animal that can cultivate feelings with human beings. When did my husband cheat you? Long Qingxia said with a faint smile. But then. Dragon Qingxia's keen ear heard someone coming, and quickly pushed the 5 poison stone directly to Yunwoo's wrist. Yunwoo opened the space bracelet knowingly and took the 5 poison stone in. Lao Hu knew that the 2 brothers had something to say with them alone, and they didn't go too close. Xiao Wu, take your brother. We're going to set out. You can tell from the address that the dragon's evil spirit is already an accessory of Cloud Dance in other people's eyes. Cloud Dance answered and said to the dragon, do you really want to give me the 5 poison stone? Even Hyo wants something like that. This alone is enough to show that the 5 poison stone is extraordinary. Dragon Qing Evil is casually said, gave her things. Long Qingxia walks in the left front of Yunwoo. Hearing her question, he gives her a meaningful answer. Some things are better for those who are useful, aren't they? Cloud Dance Leng Leng, at that moment, she even began to doubt that Dragon Qing Xia had found something in her. Like Chaos Palace, like Black Pride. Cloud Dance touched his white wrist and stressed to the dragon, since you gave it to me, you don't want to take it back. Even if she wants to pay it back, she won't go back. At that time, the 5 poison stone must have been used by Hyo to refine medicine. When the people in the camp heard the words of Cloud Dance, the fat man asked curiously. Xiao Wu, what good things did your brother give you? Because of this sentence, other people all looked over, and their eyes were fixed on their brothers. Cloud Dance in the heart secretly scolds this dead fat person to be multifarious, this kind of time, even if who really gets what treasure, as long as the companion does not know, who will be silly enough to share with the companion? What's more, they still got 5 poison stones. However, Cloud Dance is very casual to say, nothing, that is, my brother picked up a gem ring, I took it. Then she brushed her hand over her wrist and put it on her finger. Just in time, a beautiful ruby ring was shining. The fat man smacked his tongue with admiration and said with emotion, can you pick it up? It's really different from people's lives. How many times have we come in? At most, we find some dry food or weapons. Weapons are all ordinary goods. Cloud Dance Light Return Way, is my elder brother good luck. With that, she said to old Hu, Uncle Hu, don't you start yet? Lao Hu saw that Yunwoo didn't like to pry into her and her brother's private affairs. He quickly winked at the fat man and told him to stop and shut up. Fat man also knows how to advance and retreat. He wants to please Yunwoo and get close to such a powerful young man, but he won't be willing to backfire and make Yunwoo hate him. Starting to move forward again, Long Qingxia, as before, stood beside Yunwoo to protect her safety. The thin man wiped the sweat stains, hot straight pulling his coat fan. Lao Hu, how long do we have to go? Lao Hu looked at the distance and said, if you can get there quickly today, if you are slower, you can get there tomorrow morning by staying another night. The tall man, who had been quite silent, suddenly opened his mouth. Lao Hu, what is that young master Nangong looking for? Although Lao Hu doesn't know the details of Nangong Yi's poisoning, he should know what they are looking for. At the end of the tall man's speech, others also looked at Lao Hu, waiting for his answer. Cloud dance and dragon pour evil also sweep the vision in the past, seem to be the same. However, when Lao Hu said the answer, others were all at a loss, only the clouds danced in his heart. As for the dragon, he was obviously happy. Because, what Lao Hu said Nanganji was desperately looking for was what Yunwu just got. Mr. Nangong is looking for the 5 poison stone. Yunwu didn't expect that things would happen so coincidentally. She just found the 5 poison stone, and Nanganji is also looking for the 5 poison stone. 5 poison stone. What's this thing about? Isn't it for us to look for something poisonous? Is he poisoned after all? If you want to poison people. Hearing the poison words, the faces of the tall, short, fat and thin group of 4 changed. Except for the tall man who didn't speak, the others all had some chagrin in their faces. It's not terrible to enter Warcraft Forest and meet powerful Warcraft or enemies. What's really terrible is the invisible poison that kills people. They haven't even heard of the name of the 5 poison stone. Even if the employer will give some relevant information, what's the matter with something that can make Nanganji such a big name? Of course, Lao Hu understood what they were thinking. He waved his hand and said, "Don't worry about that. Now you can't even see the shadow of the 5 poison stones." At this time, Long Qingxie pretended to be concerned and asked, "That Nangong Yi is not the son of the national master. He should be very capable. How come he hasn't found it after so long?" Lao Hu wanted to sigh when he thought about it. Mr. Nangong didn't say anything else. He just asked many people to take a bottle of liquid medicine and sprinkle it everywhere. When they finished, they would watch. If there is anything unusual, report it to him. If not, continue to look for other places in the Warcraft Forest. They have been searching in the Warcraft Forest for nearly half a month, but they have never found anything. Although Nangong Yi has given all the money he should give, the feeling that he can't do anything is still very unpleasant. Yunwu and Longqingxi look at each other secretly. It seems that the potions in Nangong Yi's hand are specially made to look for the 5 poison stone. Just, why is the 5 poison stone left outside the Warcraft Forest? That group of people, isn't all the way from the periphery scatter the net type search to enter? This answer is obviously not available for the time being. I spent the whole morning talking, analyzing and talking. At the end of the day, Lao Hu touched the sweat on his forehead and asked everyone to stop and have a rest. Lao Hu took some food from his space token and gave it to Coco, who was responsible for cooking. This is also the preferential treatment given by Nangong Yi to the leaders. Each leader can get a space token. Although the internal space is actually very small, it is enough for them to store all the food of a team for about 7 days, and when the task is over, the token will be given to the leaders. Lao Hu treasured the token, which was 1/4 of the palm size. He remembered Yunwu's action of grabbing a thin sword in the void and looked at it. Obviously, this little 5 also has some space items. How can a person who has to go to the Warcraft Forest to find a task have such things? It seems that the background of the 2 brothers must have something else to say. I don't know if they are the young masters of a big family. However, the appearance of Xiao's malnutrition doesn't make sense. Just as Lao Hu was guessing, Long Qingxie suddenly interrupted his thoughts. Don't guess, Lao Hu. We are not rich men. Have you ever seen such young masters as us? By Long Qingxie said this on the spot, Lao Hu's look immediately some embarrassment. And also in the dark to observe their 2 people's tall, short, fat and thin group of 4, is also immediately away from sight. Long Qingxie's eyes are full of awe that people dare not look directly at him. At this time, he still looks like an ordinary young hunter's face, but his momentum can't be underestimated. My little 5 is lucky to get help from a noble man and have something that others don't have. However, there are not many things. It's a pity that we don't have enough to be happy together. When people looked at the dragon who was smiling, they found for the first time that the breath of the man who called himself Dragon 4 was no better than his cruel brother. The little man with a sharp mouth was the first to patch. Dragon 4, look at what you said. How can we have a child's idea? The fat man also followed, that is, we still expect Xiao Wu to protect us. If we even rob his things, he can't just poke a blood hole like that man-eating snake. Other people, including Lao Hu, just followed suit with a smile and didn't talk too much. Long Qingxia's attitude is very clear. My brother is a little boy, but we two brothers have abilities, so you'd better be honest and don't make people unhappy. The cloud dance sees the dragon to pour evil a few words to smooth out those guys of each bosom idea, pour is also some appreciate. After all, she didn't want to be alert to her own people along the way except Warcraft. That's too tired. A few people talk empty, cooking pot began to gurgle with hot gas. Coco lifted the lid and the dense steam rose, blurring her vision. Dad, the meal is ready. Yunwu walked over to have a look. This meal is to stew the remaining pork and potatoes together, looking at the soup rich, but also quite appetite. Thin man Nianiendeo said, I didn't sleep well last night. Fortunately, I can have a steady meal today. The sound of his words had just dropped for less than a second when some strange movements came from the grass beside him. Cloud Dance Brush turned to look at him, never seen such a crow mouth. The thin man chuckled and quickly picked a few mouthfuls of vegetables into his mouth. In case of a fight, it's not sure whether we can keep the pot of rice. It's important to have a few bites first. Soon they could see what was hiding in the grass. The shining scales in the sun, a person's strong body, and the rustle sound when they crawl with the ground, really make them not more familiar. What the hell is that again? The voice of the fat man is out of tune. One day, the cannibal snake made them lose a forest fire. Although Yunwu can deal with the cannibal snake, it obviously wants to win quickly while the other side is still belittling the enemy. This time, can they still win? Long Qingxia's black eyes were staring at the new man-eating snake, and suddenly raised his hand to stop others from speaking. Don't worry. It seems that something is wrong with it. Yunwu listened to the dragon's evil words and observed carefully. As expected, he found that the man-eating snake seemed to be suffering. Even if they were only 5 steps away from it, it didn't notice them. Or, if you notice them, you don't have the strength to attack them. Suddenly, Coco points to the new man-eating snake and tells her what she has found. Is that a snake egg? Everyone in the team suddenly realized that no wonder this man-eating snake is so weak that it has just spent most of its strength to produce offspring. Now it is being slaughtered. Xiao Wu, this time your child has a rest. I'll clean up the sick snake. Thin man is eager to be a snake butcher. The short man's eyes shine. Captain, we made a profit. Lao Hu is also very happy now. I didn't expect that he was so lucky this time. Not only met the hidden 5 brothers, but also met a man-eating snake who had just laid eggs. What are snake scales and tusks? The eggs of man-eating snakes are better sold on the black market. You know, a man-eating snake cultivated since childhood is no less than the best personal guard with high strength. Yunwu watched them discuss the way of killing the female snake, but there were no waves in her heart. The law of the world is the law of the jungle. Today, if it had not happened that the female snake was weak, it would have been them. The thin man approached the man-eating snake step by step with a long knife. He still remembered how the forest fire became a ghost, and finally died in the Warcraft forest without leaving any bones. The man-eating snake is weak. As long as he makes a counterattack, his end will not be much better. The thin man held his breath and took advantage of the snake's inattention to stab it in the eye from behind. At this time, Yunwu knew that the skinny man had the same fire attribute as her. No wonder he dared to ask to kill the snake. I don't know if the fire will really work on the man-eating snake. Just as the thin man's hand started to fall, a long sword came from the air like thunder, and one of them hit the long sword in the thin man's hand to the ground. The weak man-eating snake was startled by the sound, rolled twice on the ground, stood up and looked at the group of people with bad intentions. The skinny man retreated to safety and exclaimed, "Who? Get out of here, if it dies, the eggs will not hatch in all likelihood. Why do you do it so well?" A steady, warm and comfortable sound came from the depths of the woods. Just listening to the gentle voice like pearls can help people vaguely imagine what kind of elegant person the owner of the voice should be. At first, Yunwoo felt familiar with the sound. When the man in white came out of the forest leisurely, she suddenly realized. Nangonji? Is it really him? Skinny doesn't seem to know Nangong-yi. Seeing such a rare chance to be a hero, he is reluctant to let go. He pointed to Nangong-yi, who suddenly appeared, and said, "Life and death have a destiny. It's bad luck for it to meet us today." Lao Hu was stunned when he saw Nangong-yi. Now he saw that the thin man pointed a knife at his employer and quickly kicked him. "Don't talk about it. This is Mr. Nangong." The thin man was beaten by Lao Hu, but he didn't say what he said. He choked himself red in the face. Nangongji stands with them across from the man-eating snake. After he signals to Lao Hu, he looks at Yunwoo's face. The sight gave Yunwoo another feeling of goosebumps, as if every time in front of him, her soul could be seen through. However, just when Yunwoo and Nangongji just came into contact with each other, the other two eyes were also watching them. Long Qingxie narrowed his black eyes and looked strangely at Nangong-yi. On the other side, because of Nangong-yi, the cannibal snake who picked up his life didn't remember his kindness. The weak man-eating snake keeps the quietest state. If it's not everything just now, maybe everyone will doubt whether it's a living man-eating snake, but just a vivid corpse. Lao Hu was more vigilant after all, and this unusual calm attracted his attention. He shouts to Nangong-yi, "Mr. Nangong, please leave there. It's dangerous." Nangong-yi Juan's white face is more and more transparent in the sun, with a sense of transparency. With it, people can't see the expression on his face clearly. Yunwoo was not worried about Nangongji's safety, but when she suddenly saw that the man-eating snake exploded, Nangongji was still standing in the same place without any resistance, and she was immediately surprised. His eyes shot. "Stand still." Cloud Dance suddenly Jiao drinks a, burning the thin sword of fierce blood-color flame then appears in her hand. Almost in an instant, with the momentum of splitting mountains and rivers, he waved heavily towards the back of the snake's head. The flame burns everything in the air into nothingness. A thin layer of black smoke permeates the place where the cloud-dancing sword passes, showing the path of the sword. This man-eating snake is the end of a strong crossbow. Moreover, it is determined to eat Nangongji to replenish its energy. How can it think that the little boy standing opposite has such a great lethality to it? Just in an instant, the huge snake's head slammed down on the ground. Another inch, it would just hit Nangongji's feet. Although he was not hit by the snake's head, Nangong-yi's clean white clothes are still splashed with blood red by the blood gushing from the man-eating snake's broken neck. The original image of Junlang in white was in a mess. However, he didn't seem to have much reaction. He was still standing there pure and indifferent. "Young master, I'm afraid that my subordinates are incompetent." The bodyguards came in a hurry. Seeing Nangong-yi's embarrassed appearance, they were so scared that they fell to their knees. "Just go back to the hut first, help me find some hot water, and then find a clean suit." "Yes." Nangong-yi looks at Yunwoo, and the beautiful face under the white gauze just raises a gentle smile. As if he had no temper, he took the clean towel from the bodyguard and wiped his face. It was not easy to save that Qingjun face. The next moment, in the eyes of Lao Hu and others, which are mixed with sympathy, Nangong-yi looks at Yunwoo inexplicably, and then turns to follow the bodyguard back. However, it seems to think of something, and then look back to the direction of Cloud Dance. "Let the boy come with me. He saved me." The bodyguards took orders to act, and with the appearance of, "It's your blessing that my son is willing to see you," they took Yunwoo away from the exploration team. Of course, there must be Dragon Qingxia walking together. Anyway, brother's identity is still very useful at this time. A cabin was built in a clearing near a lake in the forest. At this time, it was in the hut. It took Nangong-yi a long time to clean himself up. Yunwoo was bored and counted while waiting at the door. He took a bath with 5 buckets of hot water. Tut, I'm really worthy of being the son of the national master. I'm still a noble child in the Warcraft forest. I'm so precious. The guard opened the door of the room and said to Yunwoo and Longqing with a straight face, "Gentlemen, please come in." Long Qingxie glanced at the guard, cold and indifferent. Hearing this, he stepped into the room first without saying a word. He didn't care about any rules. Such a move attracted the guard's disgusted glare at him. The vulgar lower class couldn't get on the stage like this. Cloud Dance sees that bodyguard, some doubts, how isn't that troublesome small attendant of South Palace East Side come to open the door? Think of that little kid, Cloud Dance can't help but think of the auction house. As Long Qingxie and Cloud Dance step into the small hall, they see Nangongji standing in front of the bookshelf. Nangong-yi has just finished bathing. However, he is still wearing the white dosha on his head and a white robe with a dark pattern of silver thread on his body. "Little brother, thank you for saving my next life. Can I help you?" Nangong-yi turns his head and looks at Yunwoo. He asks mildly. He is still the same as Cloud Dance in memory, always so gentle, but can handle extremely good. Let people listen, even if they don't like him, they can listen to him. "No, I just took the money to do things. You paid for it. I should protect you." After all, in the eyes of Nangong-yi, Yunwoo is always a little uneasy. Nangong-yi poured a cup of tea and said to Yunwoo, "What's your name, please?" "Little." Cloud Dance just opened to say a word, by the side of Dragon Qing Evil quickly interrupted in the past. "Her name is Dragon 5. Cloud Dance toward the Dragon Qing Evil squeeze eyes, when she simply with him a surname. "There are 8 brothers in our family. They are all named in the order of birth." Long Qingxie turns a blind eye to the threat of Cloud Dance and continues to lie to Nangong-yi. "Little 5, little Dance." How can Long Qingxie be allowed to shout to Yunwoo from Nangong-yi's mouth? Nangong-yi put down the book in his hand and looked at the dragon with a negative hand. In his clear black eyes, he saw through the vicissitudes of life. Long Qingxie's eyes looked back at him dangerously. They were also black eyes, but his eyes were like a deep cold pool. "It's cold and chilly. Why did you join the expedition?" Nangong-yi put his eyes on Yunwoo and asked her, "With your ability, even if you are not in the exploration team, you can live a good life, can't you?" Nangong-yi's words are actually very strange. The last sentence doesn't seem to be a real question, on the contrary, it seems that he already has an answer. Let Yunwoo think that he has recognized her. However, Yunwoo calmly replied, "These are our own business, you pay the commission, and we work for you, isn't that enough?" Nangongji steps towards Yunwoo, and Wenxing asks, "Do you want to know why I want so many people to come to Warcraft Forest?" Yunwoo is not easily taken up by Nangongji's active curiosity. Instead, she asked calmly, "Does this have anything to do with me?" "It's just your business." Nangong-yi seems to have expected that she would have such a reaction. The gentle smile on her face is better than a few points. Long Qingxie looked at the two of them, and their mood became worse. "Mr. Nangong, the most terrible thing for a man is not contented. He always wants what he shouldn't get. We don't want to hear this secret that doesn't belong to us." This implied declaration gives Nangong-yi a look. He glanced at the hunter's dress that Dragon Qingxie now exposed, and looked at him more. But he could see nothing. This is the second time that someone can't see through in his eyes. The first one is the evil man who appears beside her, and the Dragon 4 is the second one. He's him. Or, is the strength of this man enough to make him invisible? Long Qingxie puts his hand on Yunwoo's shoulder and looks at Ren Nangong-yi, who is intimate with Yunwoo. The two brothers are very close. Sure enough, seeing his action, Nan Gongyi's eyes narrowed slightly and gave a faint smile. You don't need to be reminded by Nan Gong. You'd better get down to business, or we'll leave. Nan Gongyi faced Dragon Qing evil everywhere if there seems to be no provocation, good temper and not angry. And this is the only thing that makes the dragon feel sick. You must have heard that I was poisoned. This time I asked you to come to Warcraft Forest to find an antidote. Nan Gongyi goes to the desk and sits down. His white clothes are flying. It's like a fairy in a painting to cooperate with the room with the fragrance of reading. Seeing that they didn't interrupt, Nan Gongyi went on consciously. What I'm looking for is the 5 poison stone. This kind of stone can attract all kinds of poisons, but I rely on it to attract a kind of highly toxic warcraft, and take the blood of that warcraft to refine antidotes. After hearing this, Yunwu said to Nan Gongyi, if that's the case, why don't you go directly to find that kind of warcraft? Why do you have to ask for the 5 poison stone? Little brother, you don't know. The kind of warcraft I'm looking for lives underground all the year round, and even can't find food on the ground. Unless it's the 5 poison stone, you can't find it at all. Nan Gongyi said some related things intermittently. In the end, Long Qingxie was impatient and wasted his time, dragging Cloud Dance to leave. When Yunwu learned that Nanganji needed the 5 poison stone, he just wanted to rely on it to attract warcraft, so he couldn't help thinking. Before, he saved her life, and she owed him one. This, in fact, she has always kept in mind, and she never likes to owe people. However, at this time, Hayo also needs the 5 poison stone. This little thing, I haven't promised you to take the 5 poison stone out to save Nanganji. There was no one around. Long Qingxie held Cloud Dance tightly in his arms and looked down into her eyes. In those evil eyes, there were 4 big words, don't save when you see death. Just now, I was still thinking about the Cloud Dance. My mind returned slowly. I looked up at all the men in front of me. Asked, things have been given to me, do you want to go back? I don't want what I give you. But, little thing, if you dare to give what your husband gave you to other men, I don't have to wait for any antidote to save my life. I'll send him to the west first. Although Long Qingxie's face hasn't changed yet, his natural domineering spirit and his evil spirit of not putting anything in his eyes are still fully revealed. Now that the things have been given to me, it's mine. The decision is in my hands. Come on, don't make trouble. I know it. With that, Yunwu wanted to take his hand back from him. Naturally, the dragon would not let go. But at this point, Nanganji lived in the hut. Suddenly a faint sound of fighting came. Yunwu and Longqingxi stopped pulling, looked at each other and rushed to Nanganji's residence. By the time they arrived, the courtyard was in a mess. Several bodyguards were fighting with a masked man in black. People with clear eyes could see that the masked man with more than one enemy had the upper hand. Nan Gongyi is supported by the bodyguard at this time. Because he is wearing white dosha, people can't see his face. However, he faintly feels his breath, which seems to be much weaker. I don't know if it's poisoned or injured. It makes you laugh. Nan Gongyi see them two come, some weak smile, I have been like this since poisoning, it is useless. After Cloud Dance looked at him, he was not polite to him. He just looked at the battle circle and carefully observed the way and tactics of the man in black. In addition to the suppression of strength, there are many other things we should pay attention to. Unless the person fighting alone has the ability to crush others directly. And this masked man in black, obviously does not have these. Just when Cloud Dance observes carefully, Nan Gongyi suddenly asks for Dragon's Evil. Brother Longxi, I don't know. Can you help my bodyguards? Dragon Qing evil skin smile meet don't smile of looking at South Temple E, that look in the eyes is clear to imply to deter. Mr. Nangong, your bodyguards are the best in 100. If they can't cope with them, I'll go, won't I die? Nangongyi seemed to have expected Long Qingxia's attitude and said gently, Xiao Wu is so good at it. I have more confidence in her elder brother. You must have taken the reward for coming to Warcraft Forest this time, so protect me. Between the two, it seems very normal to have a dialogue. However, I don't know why, there is always a temptation that others can't understand. Yunwu is not interested in the exploration between the two of them, but Long Qingxia ends up fighting with the masked man in black. She is very happy to see it. Only by observing the actual combat, can she get more ways to fight the enemy. Dragon Qing evil aware of Cloud Dance eyes, language with doting asked, Small 5 also want to see? Cloud Dance stiff expression nodded. Since Xiao Wu wants to see it, I'll go and play with him. Long Qingxia's words were clear and clear. He just wanted to make Yunwu happy. He didn't pay attention to Nangongyi at all. Is that arrogance? Absolutely. Who do you think you are? How dare you talk to you like this? And his such attitude, let protect in South Palace east side of bodyguard how can bear, the facial expression ugliness almost want to turn a face with him on the spot. Well, don't talk too much. Nangongyi raised his hand to stop the bodyguard. On the pale face under the white dosha, the smile faded. His original intention is to test the Dragon 4 to see if he has any details. This person's style of action is really very similar to someone in his impression. Next, it's time to see his strength. Long Qingxia doesn't know all about Nangongyi's plans. He looks at the guards and the masked man in black, with a cruel sneer. Since he wants to test, he will let Nangongyi have a look at something interesting. Long Qingxia walks to the battle circle, but every step makes people feel that his momentum is stronger and stronger. Everyone found that as the dragon went past, even the air was full of invisible depression. The man in black soon noticed the existence of Long Qingxia. He beat two bodyguards fiercely. It seemed that he didn't want to fight with Long Qingxia. However, how can Long Qingxia make him achieve his wish? The broad palm opens and closes, and a broad blade épée appears in the palm of Dragon Qingxia. The sword body is covered with strange patterns. Looking at the material and the pattern of the hilt, it seems that it is just a pair with the thin sword that the dragon gave to Yunwu. And this is also Yunwu, the first time to see him really take out all his weapons. When I saw that the sword seemed to be a pair with her, I felt a little strange in my heart. There was no bodyguard who could stand beside the man in black at this time. After the pressure suddenly lightened, the man in black had enough confidence. Don't mind your own business, it's between me and Nangongyi, he said to the dragon smell speech. Long Qing evil just the smile of the corner of the mouth deepened a few minutes, he is not a meeting to take care of their what gratitude and resentment. Who said I was in charge of you and Nangongyi? The man in black was stunned. So, you don't want to interfere? Long Qingxia closed his eyes slightly. When the man in black was thinking about what he was going to do, he suddenly opened his eyes. On the shining pupil, there was blood like silk thread passing by. Even the broad blade épée in Long Qingxia's hand, with his change, appeared a trace of blood color in the grain. Long Qingxia smiles, and his evil spirit is crazy. He raises his hand and points his sword at the man in black and says coldly, my little dance depends on how I deal with you, so I will naturally deal with it for her. When the man in black felt the inexplicable changes in the air, he was shocked. He didn't seem to expect that the man's breath was so strong. However, it was humiliating that he tried to obstruct him to show another boy. However, the man in black is not stupid. He moves his feet and makes a quick move. If he wants to seize the opportunity, he will do it first. But it's still a slow step. The wide blade cuts through the air in the middle, and cuts heavily towards the man in black with a sharp whistle. In this short moment, the blood lines on the épée quickly covered the whole body of the sword, just like the vigorous vines. Even the momentum of Long Qingxia himself began to make people shudder, but what was more strange was that it made people unable to see the height of his specific strength. This is the most frightening. It depends on whether you have the ability to deal with me. The man in black was unwilling to be humiliated, and his fighting spirit was carried all over his body. In particular, his weapons were covered with a layer of almost liquid energy. It can mobilize the power in the body to such a degree, and the energy is so refined and thick. The cloud dance outside the stadium was surprised to see this step. Long Qingxie doesn't talk to each other anymore. The épée cuts down, and the air is split into a crack. The épée and the opponent's weapons hit each other with a deafening roar, forcing the opponent's body down. However, the masked man in black is obviously a hard bone. He is still struggling to push his power back under the power of dragon. Interesting. Long Qingxie's eyes on the masked man in black are no longer contemptuous, but full of interest. Although Long Qingxie didn't really use all his strength, the person who can compete with himself in this situation can make him a bit interesting. There was no wind outside the hut. But the clothes on Dragon Qingxie's body were trembling, as if it was windless. Nan Gongyi looks at the dragon who confronts with the man in black. In the eyes of the wise man under the white veil, there is a trace of doubt. The breath is not right. Is he really thinking too much? This dragon 4 is not the person he thought. But I'm afraid there are not many people in the world who can't see through. Are these two really unrelated? Or the masked man in black knew that this was a tough idea to tie hands with, and his heart sprouted a retreat. Who are you? Why do you want to help Nanganji and me to be right? Long Qingxie sneered, and his expression was full of coldness and pride. Who said I was helping Nangongyi? Are you deaf? It's my little dance. I'll do it if I want to see it. What's the implication? To him, what is Nanganji? I don't know which sentence of Long Qingxie is liked by the masked people in black. The other party laughs. At the moment of fighting each other, he can still joke about Long Qingxie. Good boy, if we don't die today, we'll drink together another day. Long Qingxie's response is to pull the corners of his mouth back. I'll drink it myself, you can forget it. As soon as the words fell, the dragon suddenly moved forward. The whole person was like a bow and arrow pushed out, straight towards the other side. Just when the masked man in black was strictly guarding against the frontal attack, Long Qingxie's body shape was strange on the way. Suddenly, he ran straight up at a right angle of 90 degrees. Although Yunwu had seen the dragon's hand in the Warcraft forest, he had never seen the dragon's skill like today. Now he was a little surprised. The épée with strong power fell straight from the sky. When the masked man in black wanted to move and avoid, he was frightened to find that his body was fixed. Cloud Dance looked at the masked man in black. He was not bound, but he seemed to be struggling in the same place. He realized that it must be Dragon Qingxie who used some means to make him unable to evade the attack. Think of here, Cloud Dance in the heart unavoidably draw a cool breath. When the two sides fight, they can make the other side unable to move. Such a means, even if it is only for a moment, may become the key to a decisive victory. The dragon, however, can hold his opponent for such a long time. At the moment of lightning and flint, masked people yelled, "Boy, don't you want Nangongyi's life?" At this time, the sword tip in Long Qingxie's hand almost touched his scalp. The power of leakage along the edge of the sword cut the skin and flesh of the masked man, and a small bloodstain slowly flowed down his hairline. Tick! The blood fell to the ground, the dragon turned over and stood beside the masked man with his sword. Looking at his eyes, it's like looking at a prey who is driven to a dead end by himself. There's no other way out except to be played by others. To be honest, in the moment just now, when Long Qingxie heard the word Nanganji, he really wanted to kill the grass. It's just that this visit to Warcraft Forest is for Cloud Dance experience. It will cause unnecessary trouble all the way. It will only delay the upgrade of Cloud Dance, and the gain is not worth the loss. Of course, this is only one of the reasons. As for the other reasons, he just knows clearly. Nangongyi, let him live 2 more days. Nangong-yi himself listened to the masked man's words, and frowned under the white yarn. It was the bodyguard beside him who yelled at the masked man. "Tell me, how can we save our son?" The masked man sat on the ground like a rogue, crossed his legs, and glared at Long Qingxie. "You are lucky to meet this evil star. As long as you find the 5 poison stone, I can give your master an antidote." Cloud Dance eyebrows a wrinkle. Masked people mean, there are other people poisoned. What's the matter with this? The poison that needs 5 poison stones will not be easily made. Who is going to poison so many people? Nangong-yi straightened out the sleeves with repeated embroidery patterns, and said in a gentle voice, "What you said is very light, but how hard it is to find the 5 poison stone. You should know better than me. Otherwise, I will not come here to take away the 5 poison stones that may be found by my men." The masked man is very cheeky and doesn't care about Nanmi's purpose of his trip. "So what? Now I've decided to cooperate with you. Anyway, without me, it's not much easier for you to refine antidotes than to ascend to heaven." The bodyguard disdained to say, "Hide your head and shrink your tail. Do you want people to cooperate with you? You'd better show your face and name yourself first." The masked man was very angry by the bodyguard, so he stood up with his hands akimbo and began to yell at the bodyguard like a shrew. "What do you mean I hide my head and shrink my tail? Don't I just cover my face? If you have the ability, you can cover it too. What's more, isn't your son also hiding himself with a white mosquito net, and his feelings are also hiding his head and tail?" The bodyguard was more clumsy than this man. He was speechless and stammered. He couldn't answer back. Nangong-yi was not angry when he was said that, but responded gently, "You also said that whether the coverage is personal interest, my subordinates are in charge of too much. However, since you already know my name and origin, should you give me your name in return?" The masked man pointed at the guard and gave orders. "Tut, don't you think it's much better to talk like this than to learn from your master?" The bodyguard was too angry to say. His straight face was red. Masked people swagger close to Nangongji and grab an apple from the fruit tray on his desk. "As for me, Shengguan Fuxing, you don't deserve to know my name. Just call me Shengguan." The bodyguard's eyes would stare out, and he said he didn't deserve to know his name. Shengguan made a face at the guard and looked at the others. "Can see Long Qing evil time," the line of sight schwa once then move away, obviously very scared. But when he saw the cloud dance, his eyes immediately changed. Soon he waved, "Come here, boy." Cloud dance eyebrows pick. But with the nature of cloud dancing, naturally, he was not afraid of him, so he walked over. "What can I do for you?" Shengguan's eyes, which came out of the mask, looked at Yunwu with strange luster, like a dog with bones. "And it's the kind that's been hungry for more than 10 days. Rao Shiyun has always been calm, but he is not comfortable with Shengguan's eyes. Dragon Qingxie is not happy, squints dangerous eyes, comes over, and pulls Yunwu behind him. "Do you have a problem with my brother?" In front of him, looking at his woman hungrily, when he died. Shengguan was so scared by the words of Long Qingxie that he didn't come back for a long time. He suddenly grabbed Long Qingxie's sleeve. He howled in the voice of a dead father and mother, "Do you think he's your brother?" Brother Long Qingxie pulls back his sleeve and plays the dust that doesn't exist at all. "Or is he your brother?" Shengguan looked at the cloud dance standing behind the dragon and muttered. "How could it be? How could it be your brother? That's not right." Cloud Dance is looking at Shengguan, that pair of particularly deep dark eyes, always feel where to see like, very familiar. However, it is obviously unwise to ask any questions at this time. Just look at the hot-blooded bodyguards of Nangong-yi. If she looks familiar with this madman, it's hard to ensure that she won't be attacked by them as accomplices. Nangong-yi gets up leisurely, and a bodyguard immediately puts on a snow-white robe for him. "Well, since you say you can refine medicine, let's discuss how to find the 5 poison stone earlier." Long Qingxie and Yunwu wanted to leave, but Nan Gongyi left them because they had settled Shengguan. Shengguan is very happy because of this. He repeatedly praises Nan Gongyi for being on the road. Only Long Qingxie knew that he would give Nan Gongyi a reason to get along with Yunwu. Just now, he shouldn't have stopped. He should have cut the madman with a sword and finished everything. Please take a seat. I'm sorry for the poor place. Shengguan told the truth. Are you simple? I've been sleeping in the woods for months. Are you here to detoxify or to enjoy? The bodyguards made tea and poured water. In such a dangerous place near the center of Warcraft Forest, they can not only temporarily build a simple but comfortable house, but also prepare everything that can make Nanganji continue to be a gentle child at any time. Looking at the guards in and out, Yunwu really feels that Nanganji really enjoys it. From just now, she also felt that these bodyguards around him seemed to be extremely loyal to him. This can't help but let Cloud Dance suddenly think that all those guys around her, in addition to that, also give Feng Huang all stink, all day long shouting cannibal Hongling, with the little red snake, can't help but sigh. Do people keep pets or ancestors? The only one is Hyo in human form. She is so willful that even she has to discuss it. In the final analysis, the master-servant contract is just to protect her life. I really want Hyo to be a servant. I'm afraid he doesn't want her life, so I want to kill her. Just when the cloud dances, Nan Gongyi takes the initiative to bring a plate of preserved fruits to her. Xiao Wu, you try these. I make them myself. They taste good. Cloud Dance, looking at that plate of preserved fruit, can't help but pick eyebrow to see South Temple E1I. With her current, small 5, identity, it seems that she is not familiar with Nan Gongyi, so that he can condescend to serve snacks for himself, right? I did it myself. Should not, this time, he has seen through her identity. But in that case, he seems to have no reason to pretend not to know. But then, as soon as Long Qingxie's long arm stretched out, it was even more straightforward. He directly separated the preserved fruit from Shengguan. His attitude was so cold and arrogant that he could not describe it. Shengguan quickly ate the general preserved fruit that Long Qingxie poured to him, but even when he ate, he didn't lift the mask, just sent the food in from under the mask. It's the same as Nan Gongyi. They don't want people to see their faces. Long Qingxie fiddles with the preserved fruit in his hand and looks coldly at Nan Gongyi. Mr. Nan Gong, I'll take care of my little 5. Don't bother. Nan Gongyi said in a gentle voice, Dragon 4, there is only one child named Xiao Wu here. When he is still growing up, I'm just at ease. Long Qingxie didn't know whether he believed it or not. He turned his mouth and didn't take Nan Gongyi's words. Shengguan was still biting food in his mouth, so he opened his mouth in an indistinct voice. Well, don't be jealous. Long Qingxie and Nan Gongyi are stiff for a moment at the same time. Pi Xiaoro looks at each other and doesn't intend to continue this topic. Yunwu, as the object of jealousy, doesn't seem to be very conscious. Is she stupid? Or EQ? Perhaps, there is no perfect person in this world, she has a superior and detached side, naturally there will be her defects to a small corner. After eating the preserved fruit, Shengguan burps and asks Nanganji, tell me about it. You've been looking for so many people for so long, but you haven't found the 5 poison stone. How did you do such a shameful thing? Nan Gongyi doesn't care about Shengguan's carved words, but Wensheng replies, it's my people who don't have the ability to make you laugh. Shengguan hit a ball of cotton with one punch. He felt bored and had to be serious. The liquid you asked them to use is not wrong, but it's not a good idea. Oh. What do you mean to find out? Shengguan raised his foot and stepped on the chair. He put one hand on his knee and looked like a little gangster. In my opinion, we should directly catch some sacks of poisonous snakes and scorpions, then let them go, and send someone to follow them to see where they will go. Even if you haven't seen it with your own eyes, you should know something about it. Isn't it faster than you use that bullshit liquid? Nangong-yi took a sip of warm tea. Her white fingertips and white porcelain are almost the same color, with a delicate feeling. I've thought about this before, but I don't know where to look for so many poisons. Even if we find them, they are concentrated in a certain area of the Warcraft forest. If we let them go, aren't those bodyguards who follow in the past and those who come in later very dangerous? Nangong-yi has his scruples. He asks the bodyguard to observe the reaction of the stone with that kind of medicine, which can give them time to run for their lives. But if they follow the poison directly, they will not meet Warcraft directly. This is the place where we are going to enter into the depth of the Warcraft forest. No Warcraft can be dealt with by a few bodyguards. Yunwu thinks that Long Qingxie just found the 5 poison stone by the side of the road, but Shengguan and Nangongji are seriously inferring that where there will be 5 poison stone. I don't know what to say. I feel sorry for both of them. I think you are stupid to read. You are dying. Do you care about other people's lives? Shengguan fidgetily changed another foot, stepped on the chair, patted the table, and made the dishes on the table jingle. Nangong-yi shakes his head. He can't see the expression on his face through Baisha. But, that gentle laughter, but can hear his meaning. He was still unwilling to exchange the life of the bodyguard and others for his own. Shengguan raised his hand and pointed to Nangongji with great disrespect. He bared his teeth and said, well, you are anxious to die. Go to die yourself. Don't pull others. Give me some bodyguards. I'll do it myself. No, I'm willing to cooperate with you, but that's after I found the 5 poison stone. Before that, I won't let my men do those things for you. Although Nangong-yi's voice is gentle, it has an irrefutable firmness, which makes people understand how much he opposes Shengguan's practice of ignoring other people's lives. Just when Shengguan and Nangongji are in a stalemate, the bodyguards outside suddenly push the door without permission. After this group of big men entered the room, they knelt down on one knee to Nangong-yi. The previous bodyguard who couldn't get along with Shengguan raised his head and told Nangongji what they thought. Young master, you saved all the lives of your subordinates, and you exchanged them with your own lives. Now, we are willing to do anything for you. Please listen to Mr. Shengguan. Let's go to catch the poison and find the 5 poison stone. Behind him, many bodyguards pleaded in unison. Please give the order. Nangong-yi stretched out his hand across the white yarn and rubbed the temple. He was helpless by his bodyguards. Shengguan, extremely impatient, urged, well, now, what else do you disagree with? Cloud Dance, which never said a word, finally opened its mouth. Mr. Nangong, even if you don't let them go now, can you guarantee that they won't go quietly? If you go quietly without informing anyone, you can't ask for help in case of danger, but it's even more dangerous. Nangong-yi hears a shock and looks at Yunwu. Finally, he sighs and has to compromise. Ling'an, you should distribute all the staff well. Don't let people be left alone. Go to find the poison first. The first bodyguard named Ling'an was red in his eyes when he saw Nangong-yi nodding. Yes, I do. Ling'an got up and waved to the other guards, all follow me, and start to catch the poison right away. The bodyguards left, and the room was suddenly quiet, but it seemed a little empty. Long Qingxie yawned lazily and hung half of his body on Yunwu. From an angle invisible to others, he just held Yunwu's left hand and refused to let go. It's too conspicuous to struggle at this time. Yunwu has no choice but to ignore him. He stares at Long Qingxie secretly. Yunwu asks Nangong-yi, it's rare that there are only bodyguards around him. Has Nangong always been like this? Nangong-yi hears the speech, but seems to be asked what shouldn't be asked. There is an undercurrent in the black eyes under the white yarn, and he doesn't speak. In fact, Cloud Dance is just asking about the whereabouts of the little boy. At the beginning, the little boy followed him all the way to the border town. you can see that the little boy should be very attached to Nanganji. Shengguan, who was busy eating other snacks, took the initiative to answer Yunwu for him. All dead, do you think if those people are still alive, Nanganji can still be poisoned? All the servants around him were as loyal as those bodyguards. If someone wants to poison Nanganji, those people will definitely die in front of Nanganji. And that's what it is today. All dead. Cloud danced slightly as Zheng, that is dissatisfied with her everywhere, but actually is just a hard-mouthed soft-hearted little fart child. It seems that it is still the memory of not long ago. How in the twinkling of an eye, people are gone. In fact, Yunwu is not really a cold-blooded animal without emotion. It's just that she doesn't let herself get emotional easily. However, her deepest heart, but also with an ordinary person as emotional fluctuations exist. Nangong voiced some hair astringent smile a sad way, is I this do master son of useless, can't keep them. Long Qingxie also knows about those people around Nangong. It's reasonable to say that even if he makes a move, he won't be able to destroy them all. Who did Nangongji meet and what happened? This question also appeared in Yunwu's mind, but now is obviously not the time to ask. Whether it's because of the current situation or the attitude of Nangong that he obviously doesn't want to mention it. Nangong is not a man who will indulge in the past. He takes a sip of tea and suppresses his mood. It will take 2 or 3 days to collect so many poisons. What are your plans for these days? Shengguan said, me? I'll follow you here and enjoy it. Nangong looks at Yunwu and waits for her answer. Dragon 4 and I still go back to the team first. Even if it's hard to find the 5 poison stone, we should try our best. Shengguan let out a sound, completely laughing at Yunwu and thinking of doing useless work. Nangong doesn't show anything about Yunwu's decision. He just orders Ling'an to arrange the accommodation for Laohu and their expedition team. Don't be too bad. Ling'an thought in his heart that the reason why he did this was because he saw the strength of Chonglong 4 and could suppress the madman of Shengguan. He should be treated better. Come back from the hut of Nangong do. Entering the camp where the expedition team is gathered, Long Qingxie orders Ling'an in a low voice. Ling'an, you should tell the bodyguards about my fight with Shengguan. Don't let them know. Well, I'll tell them when I get back. Ling'an follows Nangong and sees many capable people who don't like to let people know their strength in advance. In his opinion, Long Qingxie's demand is that he thinks Long Qingxie is a low-key person, so he has more favor. Cloud Dance sees Ling'an's attitude change towards Dragon's Evil, and thinks that Dragon's Evil has deceived other people's pure good bodyguard. When Laohu and others saw that Yunwu and Long Qingxi would come back, they were so happy that they couldn't close their mouths. Xiao Wu, are you really back? Long Qingxie said to Laohu, it's not true. Is it hard to come back or not? Laohu yelled and said quickly, don't talk nonsense. You can still say that. Children really have no taboo. Long Qingxie laughs at this, taboo. Taboo the gods and Buddhas. Or taboo at the foot of the underground ghost. For him, those things don't exist yet. Coco saw Cloud Dance come back, happily holding a wild fruit to share with him. Brother 5, try this. It's very sweet. Cloud Dance said thanks. Put the wild fruit into your mouth, and the sweet and sour juice will diffuse in your mouth. This humble wild fruit has the feeling of making your mouth full. The thin man looked at it and coaxed, oh, our little 5 is very popular with girls. Coco, you are very kind to your little 5 brother. Coco suddenly made a big red face by him, pinched and wronged stamped his feet, and hid away to clean up the ingredients for cooking. When Laohu saw that Cloud Dance didn't look like it, he knew that Xiao Wu was just a little girl playmate to his daughter. As for the others, there must be none. When he thought about it, Laohu felt more and more thin. Well, what should we do? After dinner, we have to continue to search for the 5 poison stones. The thin man asked for no fun by himself and walked away. The other three in the group of four, tall, short, fat and thin, looked at each other with a tacit smile. I think they have a good relationship, so I want to be a matchmaker and ask for a favor. Now I'm good, have I been beaten in the face? Yunwoo didn't care about this episode. She sat down on a grass hill near the camp and looked at the entrance of the forest not far away. At this time, next to him, a man sat down. With the hand that he stretched out when he sat down, Yunwoo knew who was coming. Cloud danced pats to open the dragon to pour evil that not serious all hands, depressed way, I say you a big man all, can don't move to cuddle. Long Qingxia turns a deaf ear to it, reaches out his hand again and takes it over, and even the whole person sticks it on Yunwoo. No. There is no need to discuss this matter. However, if it wasn't for your face today, I would not have done it. Meaning, he came out to save Nangong Yi, all for her, she had to think about him, good to him. In fact, the men are really not generally thick-skinned. I remember, I never seemed to ask you to do it. Cloud Dance glanced at him. Little things, for husband, but everything is first to you, you can't get love again? Long Qingxia made a wronged appearance, his eyes are how easy to cover up the evil beauty. At this time, he looked at the Cloud Dance, and even the Cloud Dance gave birth to a feeling that he really did something wrong. Yunwoo was embarrassed by Long Qingxia, but it didn't look like he was leading her by the nose. Because, if she let go, with her understanding of his temperament, this man will definitely climb along the pole. Later, he will definitely be pestered by him to make up for something. Moreover, no matter how compensation is made, she suffers. Think of this, Cloud Dance stem neck back way, even if so how, at that time I didn't ask to start. Long Qingxia wants to smile or not to watch Cloud Dance. Little things are really smart, and they know him more and more. Yes, it's all for my husband. I'm thinking about you all the time. How can I use you to ask? Yunwoo claims to be her husband one by one for the evil of the dragon. She only goes into the left ear and out of the right ear. Anyway, even if she corrects the evil of the dragon 1,000 times, she will never be successfully corrected once. Because he did it on purpose. Why did she waste her efforts? Long Qingxia rubs his forehead against Yunwoo's side face. Before Yunwoo wants to slap him, he talks about serious business in time. Little thing, what's your idea of going out to look for the 5 poison stone today? Cloud Dance put aside the line of sight way, can be what idea, isn't that to look for 5 poison stone? Long Qingxia began to laugh in a low voice. Little thing, do you think Wei Fu is a fool? Do you want to take the 5 poison stone in your hand to Nangong Yi? Yunwoo looked at Long Qingxi calmly and said, so what? You gave me something. How can I use it? It's my freedom, isn't it? However, Cloud Dance didn't seem to be ready to explain to him that Nangong Yi had saved her life. And Yunwoo has her own pride. Smell speech, Long Qing evil face sink like water, hold Cloud Dance jaw don't let her break free. Little thing, are you fighting with Wei Fu for Nangong Yi? Now they all know how precious the 5 poison stones are. However, this innocent little thing, unexpectedly took the 5 poison stone which he managed to get back and gave it to another man to use? He said the situation at that time easily. It seems that Lin Huer died and the 5 poison stone was in his hands. However, how could there be such a good thing? This little thing that doesn't know how to care about him is really infuriating. Cloud danced to see the dragon change color several times, finally stopped in anger, the heart will feel some helpless. Since you don't agree, I'll return the 5 poison stone to you. I'll use it later, and I'll find it myself. With that, Yunwoo touched the space bracelet and wanted to return the 5 poison stone to Long Qingxi. It's not that she doesn't care about Hyo's use of the 5 poison stone to refine medicine, but according to the current situation, it's not enough just to give them to Nangong Yi to attract poison, let alone to refine medicine for Hyo to make the 5 poison stone disappear completely. At that time, I don't know what will happen to Long Qingxie. Instead of making the man so angry, it's better to break it now. In fact, she owes Nan Gongyi a life, but she knows very well in her heart that this man doesn't owe her, or that he has done more for her than anything else. Can already have a familiar way to get along with him, if let her down to get along with him, she did not know how to face him. Long Qingxie grabs Yunwu's hand and says in a deep voice, "Little thing, how can I take back what I sent you for my husband? I don't take it back, but it doesn't belong to me. What can I do with things that don't belong to me? Do I show you the warehouse?" When Yunwu said this, he just said it. Dragon Qing evil smell speech, a evil fire rush to heaven inspiration, almost want to strangle her. What you give your husband, you give it to another man. Don't be angry with your husband. I have my own lifestyle. You can't force your strength on me. You should understand that it won't make me submit to you, it will only make me resent you. Long Qingxie looks down at Yunwu's eyes, which are almost twinkling with fire. With her emotional excitement, the deep purple smoke floats continuously, which decorates Yunwu's eyes like two most exquisite works of art. However, her words were like thunder, which made the dragon's body shake slightly. After a while, Long Qingxie finally sighed, stretched out his long arm and held her in his arms. Long Qingxie buried his head in the cloud dance neck nest and sighed, "Little thing, can't you not be angry with me one day?" He doesn't even want to be jealous. Now he just wants to kill people. If this little thing knows, will it make more trouble? However, her words made him understand what she thought for the first time. Perhaps, he is too overbearing and powerful, but he also has his pride, and only she can let him put down his pride temporarily. Tut, it's true that she has lost all her life. Yunwu's stiff neck, to avoid the warm and ambiguous breath of dragon. I'll try not to use that 5 poison stone. But if they can't find the 5 poison stone, there's no way. The dragon poured evil smell speech, on the face also raised a bit of smile. Good. It's just that Long Qingxie doesn't know that Cloud Dance is actually trying to lower her mind. Arrogant as she, in the past, when did she compromise on everything? This time, it's a little softer. Lao Hu, who came to call the brothers of Long Si and Xiao Wu back for dinner, saw that Long Qingxie held Cloud Dance tightly and almost rubbed Cloud Dance into his chest. Moreover, the face is buried in the other side's neck fossa. Lao Hu's eyes almost came out of the area, a word stuck in his throat, almost suffocated himself. So, aren't these 2 brothers? Thinking about it, Lao Hu simply went back, deliberately fell to the ground and gave a cry of pain. Long Qingxie has been watching Lao Hu guide himself in this farce. With his ability, how can anyone approach him, but he doesn't know. He just wanted to punish a small evil character and teach the disobedient little thing in his arms. Yunwu heard Lao Hu's voice, turned his head to see Lao Hu, frowned and pushed away the dragon. Then he got up and went to the camp. After returning to the camp, Yunwu looked around and found that there were a total of 9 expedition teams like them, some with more people and some with less people, but the total number was more than 100. Unexpectedly, Nanganji can find so many people above level 6 around the Warcraft forest. However, some hot and strange sight made Yunwu feel uncomfortable. As soon as she looked back, she ran into the embarrassed old Hu. "Uncle Hu, what can I do for you?" "Cough no cough, cough, cough it's all right." Lao Hu had been secretly observing Xiao Wu and Long Si. Now he was caught by Xiao Wu and choked himself immediately. He coughed and blushed. Can he ask in front of others at his age? Is your relationship with your brother abnormal? How could Yunwu believe Lao Hu's obvious abnormality? Besides, since she came back with Long Qingxie, the eyes from Lao Hu never left. Long Qingxie handed the good vegetable broth to Yunwu, a good-natured man. "Well, eat first. You'll scare Uncle Hu. If you're old enough to scare you, I can't afford it." Cloud Dance heart strange, but there is no reason for her to go to the bottom of the question. In this way, she only likes to listen to the dragon and eat first. However, the obedience of Yunwoo at this time and the interruption of Longqingxi just now are in Laohu's eyes. That really is how to see how wrong, how to see how I have the inside story. Coco also felt that her father was a little strange this evening. She whispered to Laohu, "Dad, don't always look at Brother Five. He will be angry later." Laohu was excited by what Coco said. No matter whether they are brothers or not, and what their relationship is Uncle who is not strong enough, qualified to discipline them. At that time, I'm afraid Xiao Wu will be able to run over him with one finger. To understand this, Laohu's mentality is much better. He even ate half a bowl more than usual. He didn't know why Laohu was so sensitive just now. As for Long Qingxie, he thinks that the next time the little things make trouble for him, he can try to find more audiences. Let the little thing experience the feeling of attention, should be able to see her hair. After dinner, Ling'an sent someone to send them some things to camp and sleep. Because of the hot weather, Laohu only put up a tent for Coco to live in. Other people are directly on the mat on the flat ground, Shitianmu ground, sleeping in the starry sky. The fat man spread out his limbs and spread out a mat that was enough for others to roll around. He was stunned to be covered with a whole body of fat meat. In this way, the fat man also pulled off his coat, bared his arms and showed his white flesh, and complained all the time. "Why is it so stuffy tonight? It's so hot." Long Qingxie twisted his eyebrows and looked at the fat man's trembling body. Then he looked at the cloud dance lying beside him. He was quite dissatisfied. If not for hearing the cry for help, and the huge body, Cloud Dance may not be able to confirm that the towering white meatball running over is the fat man of their team. When the fat man saw the camp, he burst into tears. "Xiao Wu, help!" After shouting this sentence, the fat man fell on the ground with a puff, splashing dust all over the ground. Even the Cloud Dance could feel the ground shaking. "What's the matter, fat man?" Yunwoo is just the person nearest to the fat man. She reaches out her hand and pokes the fat man's arm to ask everyone's questions. Fat man's breath is much faster than his air intake. He has been breathing for a long time, but he can't say a word. He just desperately points at his back. Yunwoo looks over there. It's the direction of the river. "Fat man, what did you meet by the river?" The fat man's face was as ugly as if he had just swallowed more than 10 leeches. His whole body was shaking violently. His whole body was fat and shaking without rhythm, and his mouth could only repeat the same syllable over and over again. "Wolf the wolf." Yunwoo squatted beside the fat man for a long time to hear what he said clearly, and his face became calm. "Straighten up," Yunwoo said to other people waiting for her to relay the fat man's words. He said only one word, "Wolf." Laohu some puzzled way, in the end is what Warcraft can frighten the fat man like this? If it's just a wolf, or a pack of wolves, it's time to catch up. Why didn't it move? When he said this, everyone agreed. The rest of the expedition team also think it's funny. If they can scare people into such a Warcraft, they won't dare to come because they have too many people, will they? Can't that fat man be timid and see things like trees and stones as Warcraft? There are not one or two people who have such an idea. When the first person says it, many people agree with it. Cloud Dance at this time, but in different way. Fat man is not that kind of easily can be scared out of his wits, or wait for him to slow down, ask him carefully. After that, Yunwoo said to Laohu, "Uncle Hu, before that, it's better to keep everyone on guard. I always think something will happen." "All right, listen to you." Laohu has no objection to Yunwoo's command. This is the world. The strong is the king. Although Yunwoo is young, Yunwoo is stronger than him, so he is willing to submit to such a young man. However, just because he knows the ability of Cloud Dance, it doesn't mean that others also know it. A middle-aged man with a body as big as a bear and a skin as black and shiny strode over. He looked at Lao Hu with disdain and said to him, Lao Hu, when do you start to listen to the instructions of a baby? Do you care what I become? I advise you that you'd better keep vigilant at night, or you won't regret anything. The bear looked at Lao Hu's eyes and saw a big joke. Are you kidding me? You're crazy to listen to the boy's orders, and you want us to be ashamed with you? Forget it with that. The bear looked up and down at Yunwu, who was extremely contemptuous, and left with a sarcastic smile. For such a guy who only has muscles but no brain, Yunwu even thinks it's a waste of time to look at him more. Lao Hu comforted Yunwu and said, Xiao Wu, don't give him the same opinion. I'll go and talk to the people over there, so that they won't be on guard. In this way, we can have more support here. After Lao Hu left, Yunwu watched the fat man's awkward prone posture. He was worried that he would not be killed by Warcraft if he lay down like this again. First, he would crush himself to death because he oppressed his heart. Help the fat man back first, don't let him lie on the ground. The other three in the group of tall, short, fat and thin all came right away. According to Yunwu's words, they dragged the fat man back to his mat like a dead pig. So for a while, the fat man has eased a lot, and his breathing is gradually even. Yunwu squatted beside the fat man and pressed his hand on the side of his neck to make sure that his pulse and heartbeat were stable before withdrawing his hand. Weight is too high, suddenly encounter stimulation, if you can't calm down, it's actually very dangerous. As soon as the fat man could catch his breath, he grasped Yunwu's wrist, and the eagerness in his eyes almost overflowed. Xiao Wu, help. Don't worry, tell me first what you've come across. If you don't tell me, how can I save you? Yunwu's calmness infected the fat man and relieved his anxiety. He closed his eyes and silently counted from 1 to 100 in his heart. He felt that his chest was not there because his heart was beating too fast. Then he opened his eyes again and looked at Yunwu. It's a wolf. I see a snow devil wolf that looks like a fifth-order wolf. Because the fat man is still a little weak, so his voice is not big at this time. Only those who gathered around the fat man in their expedition team could hear what he was saying. And the people who heard it clearly turned blue because of what he said. Level 5 Warcraft, which can fight with people above level 6, and still occupy the overwhelming position when there are more than one enemy. Cloud Dance doesn't know what Snow Devil Wolf is, but after hearing the 5th level, her expression is dignified. Only a 4-step upward man-eating snake was enough for her to fight hard. At that time, if it was not for Hyo's help, she would have died with that man-eating snake. Now, in the face of level 5 Warcraft, she has no strength. Xiao Wu, now, what should we do? The tall, short, fat and thin four looked at each other, almost in unison, and asked for help from Yunwu. Now they have the trend of taking Cloud Dance as the leader, which is not uncommon in the exploration team. The team leader has rich experience that others don't have, as well as the skills to survive in the Warcraft forest. However, the most powerful person in the team is the spiritual leader that everyone worships. Cloud Dance's eyebrows slightly wrinkled, but still asked a sentence to the fat man. Fat man, are you sure you read it right? The fat man said with a wry smile, I wish I had read it wrong. For this reason, I specially looked at it more. At the last glance, the guy was on the opposite side, which scared me all the way back 5th level Warcraft. Fat man's escape is not shameful. On the contrary, here, the people who can save their lives in the face of a strong enemy are really admired by others. Cloud Dance subconsciously took a look at Long Qingxie. There was no way. At this time, the only person who knew how to deal with it was Long Qingxie. This man, maybe, can survive in Warcraft Forest better than Lao Hu. Long Qingxie received the eyes cast by Cloud Dance and said honestly, if it's an ordinary level 5 Warcraft, it's not difficult for everyone here to join hands and win. However, although Snow Devil Wolf is a 5th level Warcraft, it belongs to high level Warcraft, which is far more powerful than some 6th level Warcraft. Of course, among Snow Devil Wolves, there are 3, 6, and 9 levels of blood. If Fat Man meets Do, he is a high-level Warcraft. Maybe all the people here cannot survive. Although we all guessed it in our hearts, when Long Qingxie really said it, the tall, short, fat and thin group of 4 was still scared. The thin man sat on the ground with the expression of eating flies on his face. He endured and complained. What's the matter? The first night I came in, I met a man-eating snake. My task was to find the strange 5 venom stone. Now I thought I could get some sleep when I joined up with the army. Finally, I got another level 5 Warcraft. And it's the Devil's Wolf. Is that a joke? Cloud Dance watched the thin man fidgeting with his short hair, looking like a power pole with a chicken nest. No matter what, go and talk to other campsites first. They can believe it or not. Let them gather together to prepare for the attack of Snow Devil Wolf. Fat Man lying on the ground is still in a cold sweat. Cloud Dance and Dragon Poor Evil is impossible to do this thing. So the errand job was given to the remaining 3 men. However, Yunwu's conjecture is correct. After seeing Lao Hu's attitude towards Cloud Dance, people in other teams didn't believe the words spread from their team. A thin, small and dry little boy who knows at a glance that he has no ability at all. It's killing the whole team to listen to such a thing, isn't it? When the 3 people came back, they said that almost all of them were sarcastic, and the rest of them had some face. They also hinted that they should not offer a child to God. Cloud Dance can only say, good words are hard to persuade ghosts who want to die. Since they want to die themselves, it's none of our business. Yunwu doesn't care about those people's life and death. She naturally won't pay attention to those people after all. As for her own safety, she naturally does not have to worry, because she still has Hayo to protect her life. And Long Qingxie, with his strength, if the 5th level Warcraft was hurt, it would be a laughing matter. However, she is here to practice in the Warcraft forest. With her own strength, it may be a little suspense. However, the 5th level Snow Devil Wolf may be a challenge. Yes, I wanted to save their lives. Unfortunately, some people are rushing to die. What can we do? Long Qingxie looked at the idiots who pointed at them, and his sneer never faded. He just dares to say these words directly. With the strength of his great warrior, even if all the people here attack the dragon, they won't get any effect. This is when you have absolute strength, you can have confidence. Lao Hu came back in a hurry. Ling'an gave him a signal bomb and said that if something was abnormal, it would be set off immediately. Naturally, there would be bodyguards to support him. In this way, the people on Yunwu's side all gathered together and waited quietly, vigilant, on guard against the Snow Devil Wolf that might appear at any time. Others, however, gathered together to laugh at them and then lay down to sleep. In the middle of the night, the temperature gradually dropped, and the people who used to be greedy outside all moved back to the tent. That is, after the others entered the tent, Yunwu found that in addition to them, there was a small team, which seemed to be on guard against the Snow Devil Wolf. Skinny, go over and ask. If they are guarding against Warcraft, just ask them to come together. Because Fat Man is talking about the 5th level of Warcraft, Lao Hu really has no bottom in his heart. Now he really has to come to the point that more than one person is one person. All right. The thin man rubbed his nose and was unwilling to run errands. After a while, the thin man brought back all the members of the team. After Lao Hu saw the leader over there, he suddenly laughed. You can lead the team by yourself? Yunwu looks up at the leader who is familiar with Lao Hu because of Lao Hu's rare real cordial expression. The young man was only 24 or 25 years old. He was not very good looking, but he was upright and comfortable to look at. Because of Lao Hu's words, the young man gave a shy smile and called Uncle Hu to him. Lao Hu waited until all the people in their team sat down and spoke to Lan. Ah Lan, my people have already told you to come here. Why don't you come here and look down on your Uncle Hu? Ah, Lan was a little flustered by Lao Hu. She waved her hand in a hurry, like a child who was scolded by an adult. Uncle Hu, absolutely not. Previously, the people on your side came to see us. I just came back from the outside. I didn't know that you brought this team. If other people didn't go into the tent in the middle of the night, I wouldn't have seen you across from the number 180. Lao Hu snorted from his throat. It seemed that he had been pacified. He turned back to Yunwu and said, "This is Alan. I've been running around in the Warcraft forest for 10 years. I'm a trustworthy person." And Alan is also introducing Lao Hu to his team, basically speaking the same words. The leaders on both sides are acquaintances, so naturally, they are more intimate. Fat Man has a good rest now. He put on his clothes to cover his whole body of white fat. He goes to talk with Alan and his team. The moon is slanting in the west, and the clouds only feel that the temperature is getting lower and lower. She rubbed her pimple arm and looked at the yawning members of the two teams. She also began to have some doubts. If it was level 5 Warcraft, it would have launched an attack long ago. Is the fat man really wrong? Just when Yunwu was confused, the short man on their side complained. Do you feel colder and colder? Yunwu looked at the short man and found that he had already put on his long sleeve coat, and he was exaggeratively wrapped in a thick cloak. At such a glance, Cloud Dance seemed to have a flash of lightning in her mind, which made her smart and numb. Now it's the hottest time. Even in the middle of the night, I feel cooler at most. How can it be so cold? There is only one thing to explain this strange weather phenomenon. Long Qingxie leaned on Yunwu's shoulder and said in a low voice, "It has already come." Yunwu looks at the dragon and is surprised. This man, unexpectedly discovered long ago. However, with his strength, it's strange to find out early. At least 110 people in this camp were frozen back to the tent, and no one noticed anything unusual. Even Cloud Dance, if not happened to have short that sentence, afraid also want to think again to understand. But the dragon has mastered everything. Long Qingxie stretched out his hand and pinched Yunwu's cheek. He said with a smile, "Little thing, just go to bed while it's cool. Don't worry about anything else. There's a husband here. Don't do anything." Cloud Dance slapped off his dishonest paw and gave a low rebuke. Such a scene happened to fall in the fat man's eyes, who looked back at Yunwu because he had no bottom in his heart. That 100% belongs to the action of flirting and scolding. In addition, Long Qingxie's face is by no means out of doting on his younger brother, which makes the fat man feel that he knows something extraordinary. He quickly turned his head away and nearly broke his fat neck. Seeing the eccentric reaction of the fat man, Lao Hu subconsciously took a look at Yunwu. The expression on his face was a little unnatural when he saw the dragon leaning on Yunwu. Fat man and Lao Hu look at each other and get together to communicate while others don't pay attention. Fat man, did you find out? Lao Hu, when did you find out? Two old and young men met their heads like brothers in need, and suddenly felt that they had found a real comrade in arms in the world. It's a great psychological burden for them to know such a big secret of a stronger person than themselves. Cloud Dance observed the situation of the players of the two teams, and Lao Hu and Fat Man's quiet and deep vision crossed for a while. Yunwu felt goose bumps on her back. What's the matter with them? The Snow Devil Wolf will not have the ability of mind control, will it? Probably because of the fear of Snow Devil Wolf, people will have any reaction when they are afraid. Long Qingxie is behind the Cloud Dance. He talks nonsense while waving his hand to Lao Hu and Fat Man to signal them to keep quiet. If things get big, how can he feel the pleasure of occasionally taking revenge on a little thing behind his back? It's getting late and the temperature in the camp is getting lower and lower. People who have found this problem have developed from cloud dancing and dragon casting evil spirits to all those who have not yet fallen asleep. Coco, who was sleeping in the tent, came out of the tent drowsily, wrapped in a thin quilt because it was too cold. Coco yawned and asked Hu, "Dad, Why is it so cold all of a sudden? Lao Hu reluctantly smiles and waves Coco to his side. He doesn't know what he's whispering. With the appearance of Coco, other people who had already returned to the tent came out in thick clothes. Those people's expressions are a little unnatural. Almost everyone will either light or dark toward Yunwu. They look at a few. Presumably, they also associate with the sudden cooling. It seems that they have something to do with the warcraft that the fat man met. Yunwu ignored those people's eyes, embracing her arms and considering the next countermeasures. A warm and thick feeling pressed on her back. When Yunwu looked back, she found that it was Long Qingxie who took a fox fur cape from the space ring that she would use in winter. After Long Qingxie had settled Cloud Dance, he took a pure black fur cape for himself. He advised Cloud Dance, "Don't bother thinking, Snow Devil Wolf doesn't come out, it's useless to think more." Yunwu nodded in silence. It's true. Now the enemy is dark and we are clear. We are very passive. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.